right, welcome back out to the field where the Center Point Eagles will be taking on the Fultondale Wildcats. Good evening, I'm Chris Osborne, and welcome to our second edition of Jeffco Ed TV, the game of the week. And we'll be live with you every Friday, bringing some of the best football in the county right here to you on this channel. On this channel. It's an exciting night. I hope you can tell I'm tongue-tied because tonight, as we said, we've got a great matchup between Center Point hosting Fultondale. The Eagles started the season ranked number 8. They fell in the polls out of the top 10 after losing a close one last Friday to Bessemer City, 19-16. Meanwhile, Fultondale started off on very strong, defeating Linden in the opening week, and that score was 34-26. Let's hear what both coaches have to say about this matchup tonight.
Defense. He's going to be very, very exotic in what he does. So we have to truly be locked in on the plays that we call, down and distance that we call, and we have to be very, very strategic about what we run. On defense, they're fast. They're very, very fast. So we gotta move our feet in the trenches. Receivers got to be able to get off the ball quickly. We appreciate the opportunity. It gives us a chance to show the nation what Fultondale is, to show them that the Wildcats are coming and we're here to stay.
This is the first time playing those guys, so it's about 5-6 minutes away, but it's one of those deals to where we don't know a whole bunch about them. We swapped, we exchanged last week's game. They played a game they won, so we got a chance. We look at one game to scout, to go off of. So honestly, man, we're really not gonna put a whole bunch of stock into it. We know what we need to fix. If we fix Center Point off the mistake that we made last week, we'll be fine. So we're not, we respect Fultondale, but we got to get Center Point right first before we just truly and just, because we only have one game to go off of anyway. This is the first time we've been, football game has been on Jeffco Ed TV. So we're excited about that. I mean, we're one of the better public school systems in the state. So why not have, some of the best broadcasting in the state. So, man, anytime we can get some positive exposure, we're here for it. So we appreciate you guys. We're excited that our fans that can't make it to the game, hopefully they'll be able to watch it on local TV.
So you've heard from the coaches. Now let's go to our eyes in the sky, Caleb and Scott.
Thanks a lot, Chris. It is an excellent matchup tonight. Center Point, who has had 7 straight winning seasons under George Bates, going against Fultondale. Center Point lost their first game last week to Bessemer City by 3. Fultondale comes in with a win. So both teams would love to get one tonight.
Yeah, that loss to Bessemer City last week wasn't exactly any loss. That's a walk-off field goal. That's tough emotionally in a season opener when you have so much excitement. Getting back out here, you have your home opener. I expect Center Point to come out a little bit more excited getting a win.
I talked to George Bates, the head coach for Center Point. Of course, he's won 47 games this decade alone. They only won 32 the entire last decade. We're not even through the halfway point. He wants his team to be more physical tonight. It was missing, so he ramped up physical practices. That should help him this week.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah Jackson, he's the one who ran for 120 yards, a couple of touchdowns last week. I think that showed the physical play, and it wasn't just the yardage. He was a workhorse. I think he had 20-plus carries. You don't see that often in high school ball. I think that's exactly the style of play Fultondale wants to play.
Yeah, Center Point definitely wants to run the football. What do you expect tonight from Fultondale? Since they won last week, even though it was a 1A team, they still had some success.
Yeah, that's their first non-region win, I think, in 4 years. That's a big deal for them to get that under their belt, have, that kind of hype for a season that they haven't had in a long time. I think they're feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, Keon Hanley, I tell you what, he's won 4 games in just 2 years. They only won like 1 or so previous 4 or 5 years, so that speaks volumes for where he does. So 2 up-and-coming coaches taking their programs, which have been down a little bit, to new heights. We'll see which ones where when we come back here in just a second. Let's throw it back over to Chris. Chris?
All right, thanks, guys. Buckle up, everybody. The teams are coming to the field, and we are going to be at our game of the week straight ahead. But first, let's meet the starting lineup for the Center Point Eagles.
George Bates, head football coach, Center Point High School. Wings up.
I just can't stop.
Welcome back to the Jeffco Ed Game of the Week. We're about to get started here, but want to just talk about something real quickly. It was about 3.5 years ago that Fultondale High School was leveled after a tornado back in January of 2021. Now, we know that this community is resilient. We know that they regrouped and they rebuilt, and in the fall of 2023, the new Fultondale High School opened up, and it opened up to obviously to the students who are very excited. It's a beautiful campus. It's a beautiful facility. They even have a new storm shelter on campus. So with that being said, let's meet the Fultondale starters.
Keon Hanley, head football coach, Fultondale Wildcats. Go Wildcats.
Okay, back here out on the field, we are just minutes away from kickoff, and I can tell you, I'll see you on the sidelines with lots of updates and information, but right now, let's go to Caleb and Scott.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris. Scott Griffin here, Caleb Turrentine, and we'll get the coin toss in just a moment here. We got a lot of good action across Jefferson County school systems tonight, and Caleb's got a little bit of what's happening on the schedule tonight.
Yeah, we obviously the big one, we're here with Fultondale and Centerpoint. We're going to look at Centerpoint's schedule here for the season.
Do we have a Nat sound mic?
And the Jeffco Ed teams. So Backdoor's hosting Helena. The Clay Chalkville Ramsey game was last night. I think that was me and Scott were talking about that earlier. It was a little bit surprising the way Clay Chalkville handled Ramsey. They won 62-7. We'll get into these games and give you updates as we get them throughout the night. Mountain Brook, Hueytown certainly want to keep an eye on. Shades Valley and Leeds as well. But right now it looks like we are about to have the coin toss down on the field.
Let's go to that and hear what the officials have to say.
Yes, I got to protect you. Knee pads got to be down. So throughout the game, tell your teammates if your team knee pads are up, got to boot you out, all right? You're my visitor. You're my home team. Because he's my visitor, he gets to call it. That's my heads. That's my tails. That's tails. That's heads. What do you want? Yeah. What do you say down there? We didn't hear you. Yeah. So we got a head. You ready? Ready? Here we go, guys. What do we have? It's tails. Who won the ball? It's tails. He's elected to take the ball. Which end do you want to defend? You turn your back that way, you turn your back that way.
All right, so Fultondale wins the toss, and they will be on the left attacking to your right as we go. Or actually, they said center point is receiving. So I got that backwards. Fultondale's kicking off to center point. Center point will go right to left as we go here for tonight's very important game. And again, center point coming in off of a loss. They really thought they should beat Bessemer City last week. They weren't as physical, George Bates told me, this week. And they're looking to bring some physicality tonight to get back on their winning ways against Fultondale, who did win against Linden in their opening game. So really good, yet another test here early season for both of these teams.
Yeah, I do think I'll give a little bit of a shout-out to Bessemer City just for the fact that they're probably a better team this year than a lot of people give them credit for. Coach Nelson over there is bringing them up. But, yeah, that's not a game Centerpoint thought that they would lose. And as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that was a walk-off 49-yard field goal that you don't see very often at the high school level. But Centerpoint still believes that they are a playoff team. I mean, you mentioned the winning season, 6 straight playoff trips. That matches the longest in program history. So that's something they're going to expect to continue, especially now that they drop back down to 5A after 2 winning seasons at the 6A level, which has not happened yet in this program's history. So really impressive stuff from George Bates. I think a lot of people have noticed this program and noticed what he's done with the program. And then Fultondale. We talked a little bit about Fultondale, but this is a team that had pretty much no success for the 3 years before Coach Hanley showed up. From 2020 to 2022, Fultondale was 2-27. Last year they only won 4 games, but all 4 were in region play that got them to the playoffs. They finished 4-7. It was their first playoff appearance at the 4A level, and 4 of those 7 losses were by single digits. So they're getting competitive now, and I think that could be key in a game like this, especially with Centerpoint having that let up in week 0, and maybe we might end up seeing a competitive game that 2 weeks ago we might not have expected this to be super competitive. But I think we might be in for a good one with how these 2 teams perform based off week 0.
All right, we are ready to kick it off. There's the Fultondale cheerleaders getting ready for this game with the Wildcats and the Eagles. Of course, Centerpoint will always wear, they've had it for years, it's not really a royal blue. I guess it's kind of shaded, maybe a touch or 2 darker if you're a interior design person. A little darker royal blue, but it is a beautiful blue with the red helmets and the red stripes down the pants. Fultondale comes in, they're orange and blue, of course, with the dark navy pants, navy helmets, the orange and blue striping on top of the shoulder pads, much like a UCLA or an LSU, and, of course, the white jerseys. We're ready to kick it off here. Centerpoint set to receive. And back deep for the Eagles, Kiwan Posey, a senior, is in the middle of that 3-deep setup here. Now, it looks like he's set up to be a onside kick. I wouldn't think that would happen, but he does squabble it down there to the 20-yard line, and that's picked up by Dion Moore, who's a fantastic athlete. He could have been a quarterback this year, but they've got him in secondary where he's really making a lot of tackles, and he runs all the way across the field, gets about 8 or 9 yards, and Centerpoint will start on about the 31-yard line.
Yeah, Dion Moore is certainly a name that we will be watching closely tonight whether he gets in sometime at quarterback. During warm-ups, he was spending time at the quarterback position. Last week, that was B.J. Dickerson at quarterback, but they only threw for 48 yards. He rushed for another 57, and I think we might have our answer already as Moore lines up to take the opening snap.
All right, so that is exactly what's happening after a pregame conversation where George talked about he didn't want to play Moore at quarterback, but he certainly wants to get this team rolling in the most positive direction. It feels like it'd be hard for him to play both sides. Meanwhile, we got some penalties down, and we'll see if that's a false start, and it is against the Eagles, so that'll back him up 5 yards.
Well, it's like we never left last week's game. We don't even get a snap in before we have a 5-yard penalty. I think we might have had some clock issues with a minute already gone on the clock, but no one has seemed to notice.
So the Eagles will snap it again, be 1st and 15. This time the football will be placed at the 25-yard line across the front. Fultondale loves to run a 3-man front, but they'll put guys up there, and they'll put a stand-up defensive end, a couple of them there, almost jumped again. Straight handoff. That's their running back, Cameron Wright, or Julius Finnerson, I should say, and he gets good yardage there for 7 or 8 yards.
Yeah, that's it looked like that's what they wanted to do on that first play. A little mistimed snap, but really well done.
2nd down and 5. Moore again. They've got B.J. Dickerson, who can also play. That's who they'd like to play with Moore on defense. But George Bates is going to do what he's got to do to win this game. A little option play. He's got Finnerson on the left side. Big yardage there before he's drugged down by Darius Davis, a sophomore linebacker who's got great speed laterally for the Wildcats.
Yeah, I saw them working on that pitch in warm-ups. Really well done. It almost looked like it was a forward pass, but that's how you get that running back some momentum, be able to catch that pitch and take off with it. 2 straight 11-yard gains on the ground.
All right, so 1st down and 10 for the Eagles at the 47-yard line. Again, they'll go option the other side. Finnerson got room, cuts back, still on his feet. He's got another 1st down and about 14 yards, and I believe the same result. Darius Davis knocking him down, but another great play. Just the same play to the other side.
Yeah, that's now 3 rushes for 36 yards. I think if you're averaging 12 yards a carry, I think you're probably going to win this game. Fultondale's going to have to do something to either to take away that pitch man, or I mean, you got to focus on Dion Moore too. So it's a tough position to be put in this early in the game.
1st down and 10, football rest at the 39-yard line. This time Finnerson more traditional up the middle, but he gets great yardage there, about 6 or 7 off the left guard. And again, George Bates, he's an old school guy, okay? He's got the style on the sidelines, but he's old school in his mentality, and he was very upset as that team was not physical last week. And look, that's the way it is these days, right? You practice, you're afraid to get guys hurt, especially when you have 53 on your roster. He's got to be careful. And he realized maybe we didn't practice physical enough. He took care of that this week.
Yeah, and then one of the hottest weeks of fall camp probably, too. You can't even call it fall. But they're coming out. They're running the ball much better than they did last week.
Fall just sounds cooler, doesn't it? Literally. I don't mind you saying fall at all. There's only 2 or 3 yards for Finnerson that time. He's been a workhorse so far. But that offensive line, it's young pretty much. But they've got some talent, and as you can see, they've got some size up there.
They do, and I think that might be your difference. Obviously, Fultondale's still a good team, but there is a difference between going up against a 6A defensive line that has a little bit more depth like Bessemer City and a 4A defensive line like Fultondale, who you feel like you can tire out.
Good look at George Bates and his view of the action. Finnerson again, Moore trying to get in there, the quarterback, to push him forward. And I think he's going to have enough for the 1st down by maybe a half a yard.
Yeah, that was the second effort there. I thought the play was going to be blown dead maybe at the 30. Really good defensive play by Fultondale, but he kept working, pushed forward. That looks like it's going to be enough for a 1st down.
And it is a 1st down for the Eagles, so football rests at the 28-yard line on the near hash mark. Eagles look pretty good so far here on this first series of the game. Again, Dion Moore, the quarterback. B.J. Dickerson likely will play, but George Bates going with Moore there. You got a slot off the right side, and then now Cameron White is the running back. He's leaning a little bit. They didn't call it. And Moore rolling right. He's got room. He's got a lot of room. 15, 10, spins, still on his feet down to the 7-yard line. So about a 21-yard run for Deion Moore.
Yeah, that is where he is dangerous at. I was just about to say it hasn't mattered who was playing quarterback so far tonight, as Finnerson was taking the bulk of the load. But that's where it changes things. You have to respect a pass if you can't leave people open deep. And he got a big block there on the edge as well to be able to spring him. Now he got first and goal.
That was Damon Canty in at running back. And, again, it was difficult to get our two deep. And this early, different guys can play. So we'll see what happens on that. This time, Kewan Posey's in the backfield. Normally he's a wide receiver. And Powell puts it in his belly but pulls it out. But not much happening there. Nice tackle by Torrance Goins, the senior linebacker coming from the outside. So about second down and goal from the, we'll call it a long 6. Beautiful facility here at Center Point. Great turf. Place has been here a few years, but it still has a nice look to it with a big CP there. There's a crowd on hand on the Center Point sidelines. We're up in that little booth waving at you. Second and goal. Finnerson now in the pistol formation with Posey off that left flank. But he comes back around with an option. Beautifully designed play, and that'll go forever. You can run to the airport there for Posey. Easy touchdown for the Eagles, and they go on top 6-0.
Yeah, that is 70 yards of only running the ball. And that's the third time they've run that little pitch play, this time to someone different. And that right there is what George Bates' offense is so difficult because of how many weapons you can give the ball to in the run game. And Center Point made it work, all 70 yards on the ground. Trick play here on the two-point conversion.
Two-point conversion works. George Bates pulling out all the stops as they lateral it back to Antonio Garfield, a senior, with that bizarre formation that a lot of high schools do. They eventually get together, as you know, and kick the extra point. But they did not do it, and that's why they do that kind of alignment.
A sideways snap. I love seeing that kind of stuff. That's got to be perfect, and the center has to know exactly how to do that because the refs, they've seen that kind of formation, that style. They will call it illegal if you do something illegal on that snap. Well done, just a little flick out, and easy behind the big boys on the left side to be able to get that two-point conversion.
All right. So 8-0 Center Point. 6 minutes, as you can see, to go in the first quarter. Beautiful night for football. Actually got a little cloud cover coming over, so thanks to all of our weather guys, whichever one you subscribe to. We appreciate the cloud cover there, since everybody in the world thinks the local TV guys control the weather. So we'll give them credit where credit is due. So it really, the temperature dropped dramatically tonight. So that should help both teams, which, let's be frank, they don't have 80, 90 players. Both teams in the 50 to 60 range for players, and some of them will play both ways.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of that on both teams because both teams do have athletes, but you're going to get tired. I don't care how good of an athlete you are. This early in the season, you're going to get tired. It's still August in Alabama. We can say it's week 1, right? But it's the second week of the season. You might be in better shape than you were 3 weeks ago, but you're not in mid-season shape yet. You're gonna get tired, and that could become a factor when you're playing so many guys both ways.
All right, Center Point set to kick off. Looks like Jaquari Busby will be the man George Bates picks off to kick it away. And he does. Returnable at the 10-yard line. Big hole and a big hit there. How about the hit as the Wildcats got it across the 30? But Javian Taylor with a big pop on this. Watch it.
Yeah, I think you can see he got a head of steam going towards the end zone, and it looked for a second he might be able to break that. But, boy, once he's trying to in the middle of a spin move and he gets hit.
That was Michael Yafondo, the starting wide receiver for the Wildcats. And he built up some speed, as Caleb said, but got helicoptered there pretty much and upended. But not before a good return. And the Wildcats will have their first possession on the 32-yard line.
Coming out in an I formation, I think we're going to have some old school fans who are going to enjoy tonight's game based off these two coaches' styles.
I formation is really cool to see, isn't it? They hand off to the second man through. Stacked up right there by a host of Eagles. Let's see who gets off the pile first. Big number 55, Keandre Peak, it looked like, there for the Eagles. Or maybe Willie Kimball, the junior, at 52. But anyway, 2-yard gain there for Jeremiah Jackson, who, as Caleb told you the pregame, had an excellent game last week.
Yeah, he had 20 carries. That's that big number for high school ball. Finished with 130 yards and actually caught his lone touchdown of that game in the win over Linden.
Motion again. They pitch back. They go strong that way as the motion man returns on the sweep. But a good play coming up hard is Armonte Graham from his free safety position. And another 3-yard gain, so it'll be 3rd down, and we'll call it 4. And you see the size of the Wildcats up there with Drayshawn Wright and Taylor Hill, Tobias McWilliams, Tyke Johnson, Omi Blue. That's the offensive line for the Wildcats, and they've got some girth. They can move some guys. First snap count, and boy, what an open field tackle there by center point. As you saw him coming up hard, that is Kewan Posey, who again was a receiver. And
just scored a touchdown.
Yeah, just touched the ball and came in hard on defense. Not normally a starter, but they put him in there to make that play, and he does. So the Wildcats will have to punt on their first possession.
Yeah, I think you live with that play if you're Fultondale. I feel like you've got your blocks. You had a running back in a one-on-one situation on the edge. Sometimes you just have to live with getting beat by a guy like that. They ran the ball 3 times. Those 3rd down situations, manageable, 3rd and 4. They fell short. Really good play on the edge.
Posey will be back deep for the Eagles. Davis will be on to kick the linebacker. So I don't think any fakes are going on with a linebacker back there punting. We'll see. He kicks it away to the left side, not returnable, and it kind of deadens down like a wedge at the 30-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will set up their second possession here on the Jeffco Ed TV Game of the Week. Scott Griffin here, Caleb Turrentine, John Rocket, our director and executive producer tonight. John Huddleston is our normal executive producer, and he's taking a little time to be with the family tonight on this holiday weekend. We've got a great game next week, too, right? Northridge and McAdory. Looking forward to that. Arvia Holmes, one of Sanford football's all-time greats. The head coach of McAdory just lost his mother this week. So certainly our thoughts and prayers with the Holmes family. But I would suspect he will be there next Friday and ready to go. They've got a playoff caliber team there at McAdory this year. Barely had a really close game. There's a pitch out to Posey, and that was Deion Moore again back in at quarterback, and he got kind of wrangled up there, but got the pitch away to Posey.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice if we could see a replay on that one because it was very close to his knee being down, not to mention that it was also very close to a ball going forward. That might have been a pass play that ended up going 6 yards. Let's see if we can get it in before the next play. That ball is out, and I do think that is a forward pass. I'm gonna mark him down as a 6-yard pass on that. That's the first completed pass of the night.
So 2nd down and 4. Handoff. Finnerson, left side. He's got another first down. He had 2 or 3 first down runs in that last drive, and he gets one there as he was drugged down by the secondary of the Wildcats. So 1st and 10, center point, and they're going a little pace here at the 44-yard line. Finnerson again has been a workhorse. Big hole on the left side as he bursts through inside the 40. So about 18 yards on that gain for Finnerson. Take a look.
I think we got about as much of a look as the defense did once he burst through that hole. Tough to slow him down, but really impressive start here by Finnerson. He only had 40 yards last week in that loss to Bessemer City, so they obviously think he can be a go-to guy this season. and he's proving it tonight.
He's getting a little blow now. Damon Canty is coming in now, flanking more on the right side. Posey in motion. A little bit spacing problem there, and that kind of caused those guys to run into each other as Torrance Goins came in, again the linebacker, to drag him down. And there's a flag, and it'll be holding against center point. So we'll see on that play if Keon Hanley wants to back them up or go with a play. I think I'm taking yardage the way center points move the ball, right?
Yeah, this is an interesting call because those holding calls are spot fouls. It looks like it did happen a little bit in front of the line of scrimmage, but they're giving them the full 10, so it must have happened at the line of scrimmage. I take that 10 yards every time.
So that backs it up just inside or outside, I should say, the 48-yard line of the Wildcats, and it'll be 1st and 10, and let's call it 20 because it's close enough to be that, right? For the Eagles, they have yet to throw a pass. They throw their first of the night, and he had a man across the middle, but just a little tall as he was trying to find his receiver, Javian Taylor, the junior, and just a little too fast, a little too tall.
Yeah, it looked like he had him across the middle, but maybe the timing was a little bit off. If he waited half a second, he had the time for it. Let him get out into the middle of the field. You hit him in stride at the hash mark. He's going to go a long way.
That's it. All right, so, and our mic is going in and out, so we'll check on what's going on there. So 2nd down and 18 for the Center Point Eagles. Moore drops back, a little dump off on a screen that goes over the middle. He might be gone. 20, 15, 10, tackled at the 7-yard line. Terrence Tubbs, the senior, with that run before he was finally drugged down by Davis. Take a look. Beautifully set up screen.
That is really well done by the offensive line to get out there. Love the play call. You think on 2nd, 3rd, and long, Fultondale might could have played that better. Really good play there by Davis to be able to chase that down, save a touchdown.
That's a middle linebacker doing it. Handoff inside, and that's a touchdown for Center Point as they go up by 2 scores here with some tough running inside, and George Bates has got to love what he is seeing there with the touchdown run by Javian Taylor again. So he's mixing wide receivers, backs, and different things in the backfield. Let's see what they do here on the extra point because they went for 2 last time and threw it over there to the left side and got an easy score with Antonio Garfield. We'll see. They're going to run it again. Here's kind of a naked bootleg, and Powell runs in equally. So Fultondale not getting used to this on the extra points, and Center Point's pouring it on. They're showing you they're a little ticked off from what happened last week.
Yeah, really impressive start. A lot of it happening on the ground. Here's the 2-point conversion. They playing the pitch. You've seen that pitch so many times tonight. The defender got caught playing the pitch. Really good read by Dion Moore. He was able to cut inside that defender, made the defender fall down. Easy 2-point conversion, doubling the Center Point.
All right. So, 16-0 Center Point with 5:34 to go in this first quarter. Scott Griffin, Caleb Turrentine, Chris Osborne here with the Jeffco Ed TV, and the clock for some reason says 5:34, but there's actually 57 seconds to go in the first quarter on the game clock. So we'll keep you abreast of that, but it's only in the first quarter, so they'll just flip it over here in just a second. Here comes the kickoff. And we got a flag down offsides on the Eagles on the kickoff.
Well, you know that makes a kicker frustrated, especially when he puts a good kick into one, getting inside the 10-yard line. Almost 10 yards further than the last kickoff, and only to have to move back another 5 and and try again.
So they'll kick it off again this time from the 35-yard line, and they'll retrieve the tee. Eagles up by 16 and controlling the line of scrimmage, and George Bates, he's not going to show it right now, but he's got a big smile on himself in his heart or inside his body. He's not going to show it on his exterior until after the game, but he's got to be pleased with how his team has responded to some physical practices this week. Wildcats bring it on the left side, setting up a return, and he's drug out of bounds on the 34-yard line over there. Tackle made by Caleb Parker Holt, as the Wildcats will set up shop again for their second possession of the night with 47 seconds to go in the first.
I think you're looking at almost a must-score game possession here. Fultondale's only run 3 offensive plays, and it's 16-0. I think that speaks to Centerpoint's offense and being able to control the ball, control the clock, and that's about their rushing attack. But Fultondale shouldn't feel like they're out of this. You know, they've only had one possession to have a chance. You move the ball here, you feel good going into the second quarter. You might be able to turn things around.
So handoff on the right side, and the Eagles really stopping them on first down, making it very difficult to do that as Brandon Woodall handed off again. I'm not sure Fultondale's passed the ball yet either. I think they've run it 4 straight times now, and just not putting it up in the air with Keon Hanley. So we'll see what happens. They did score 34 points last week, but so far not showing a lot of life offensively against these Eagles. And again, the Eagles have as good a linebackers as you're going to find in the state at the 5A level. Dropping back and just falling down is the quarterback, Woodall. I don't know if he lost his footing or what happened on that play.
It looked like he had an option as a swing pass that he really wanted, and when he did not have it, he couldn't find that second option, and the lineman was there really, really fast. I think that might end up bringing us to the end of the first quarter.
Kenton Brown gets the credit for the tackle, but it's pretty easy because all he had to do was help the quarterback up. That's the end of the first quarter. We will take a break here on the Jeffco Ed TV Game of the Week. The score, Centerpoint 16, Fultondale nothing. You're watching Jeffco Ed TV.
Hello, Jeffco Ed family. I'm Dr. Beth Miller, Director of Child Nutrition. This school year, we are thrilled to offer free breakfast and lunch at no cost to all students enrolled in in-person learning. As a community eligibility provision district, we encourage all families to take advantage of this opportunity. Our child nutrition program is devoted to providing healthy and nutritious meals to help fuel our students for a day of learning and growth. From crispy Crispitos to fruits and vegetables, it will all be available for free. If a student would like an extra item, those may be purchased. Again, we encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity so we can continue to provide in future years. So let's seize the day and shape the future this 2024-25 school year.
Welcome back to Jeffco Ed TV. Scott Griffin, Caleb Turntine, Chris Osborne roaming the sidelines. And Fultondale dropping back, and Woodall in trouble, and he is sacked. He's sacked right there. And a good play by Terrence Tubbs, it looks like, number 5, who came in off his defensive end position and brings the funk there, and Woodall sacked, and here come the Wildcats with another punt.
That's another 3 and out. I think something happened at the quarter switch. Those chains are about 10 yards off. It is not 4th and whatever that is. It should be 4th and 19. That being said, they didn't go forward anyway, so it's not really going to matter. But I'm a little surprised the Fultondale sideline did not catch that over there.
So 4th down here for Fultondale. And there's a flag down. Back deep for center point is Kewan Posey. So they'll back Fultondale up a little bit more. And it's 4th and forever. They would have to get to the 47 of the Eagles, and they're kicking it from the 10. Good kick. Posey's got it at the 46, and he'll be drugged down there. About an 8-yard return on that right side before he's tackled by Jeremiah Jackson on special teams. So the Eagles not only moving the ball offensively, but getting stops defensively and setting up very short fields for themselves.
Yeah, this has been pretty much exactly what Coach George Bates wanted to see in the first quarterback after last week's loss. Now, of course, he doesn't want anything to slow down, but we'll see how center point adjusts on offense, as it looks like they are going back to their other quarterback with Deion Moore lined up as receiver. I think center point's really giving different looks here, which I think is what's causing Fultondale so many problems in the rushing game.
Should be B.J. Dickerson back there for the Eagles. They hand off to Finnerson. He's the one that's taking the workload right now. Dickerson to Finnerson, and he's got very close to another first down. And they'll mark it. Well, no, he'll be about a yard shy or so where they mark it on the 39-yard line. So a 9-yard run for Finnerson, who's been very productive. He's got that Ezekiel Elliott look, right? Not only with his number, 21, but also the way he's built and the way he's moving the football.
Yeah, he's already doubled his rushing production from last week. He's up to 88 yards, obviously, with the touchdown as well. Really impressive first half for him, and that's exactly what George Bates wanted.
Dickerson drops back in trouble. Do wise to throw it away, and he does on that far sideline. So good play by Dickerson to take that out of harm's way. So it'll be 3rd down and 2. Just into the second quarter here, 9:36 to go. Eagles in control, not only on the scoreboard, but on the pace of play and the physicality on the field, which is what George Bates wanted. Coming off the loss to Bessemer City last week, 19-16. Fultondale threatens a blitz. Here they come with a blitz. Throwing over the middle. Dickerson had his man, but threw it a little bit behind Posey. Or that might could have gone down the seam for big yardage. So now 4th and 2. I think with this momentum, you might see Bates go for it.
I think so too. That pass was floated just a little too much, but it looked like it could have gone to the end zone on either side. I think if that ended up being an interception, I think you could have seen it go the other way. The defender might have gotten there a little early, kind of upended the receiver, but either way, I'm not sure anyone was making a play on that ball.
All right, you see the line there. They've done a nice job for the Eagles answering the call of George Bates this week. Dickerson high snap. He gets it. Finnerson left side. He just kind of fell down on the cut. It'll be very close to see if he got it or not. The defense looks like they're coming out on the field, and it's Fultondale's ball, so they did not get it. It looked like everybody down there was more convinced than I was.
Yeah, that looked like it looked like the cut was there, but I think
look at the chains compared to the ball. I guess he's just very slightly short, it looks like, but they think it's pretty convincing that he's a football length shy.
It's a good play by the defensive lineman. You saw it there on the replay that they were able to squeeze in to be able to cut off any kind of gap. And I think that was, that's a coaching tell you on 4th and 2, get the yards you need. He didn't look like he was trying to make an explosive play up the middle. He was just trying to get a couple of yards. He ends up slipping, falling short. Big play for Fultondale. They needed that one.
All right, we'll see if the momentum of that defensive stop helps. Woodall on the option, throws the swing out there, and it's dropped. Might better get on that football, but It is a forward pass trying to hit Jalen Fells, the senior, out there, and a little kind of a pass option, if you will.
Yeah, I do like those RPOs. I just think that if you're going to run it, let your quarterback stay put. You bootleg him out there, you're going to have that receiver covered. I'm not sure that play was going to go anywhere, even if it was completed. Fultondale is just trying something different right now on offense. They're trying to find something that works.
And to the short side of the field,
yeah,
where you don't have as much room to work with. So 2nd and 10. Twins to the left, one wide receiver to the right. The handoff, good cut at the initial part, but not much there because nobody's helping. Javion Taylor, the linebacker, comes up hard to knock down Fells, who made an initial great move, but that was it.
They have not had a positive yards play on offense since their second snap. They've had 2 that went for no gain and then 3 tackles for losses so far. This center point defense, we can talk about the offensive line and how they are playing physical like George Bates wants them to. But this defense might not might not relent the rest of the night with the way they're playing right now.
3rd down, 11. Woodall, the swing pass very quickly. Again, just a little too much on it, a little too much in front of Jeremiah Jackson, and that falls to the turf. And, boy, they get the stop defensively and very quickly have to punt it away again.
Yeah, that was, again, a good swing pass. I think he had room to run. It might have just been a little too hot. I'll still say if you're a receiver, you get 2 hands on that ball, you got to bring that in. He led you forward. You catch it and you start running. Three possessions for Fultondale, lining up for a 3rd punt already. Trying to stay in this game.
So the punt is away. I think somebody got a little tip of it, and it's going to flail over here to the right sideline. And George Bates is trying to help him see where that's going to be on the sideline, and they're backing him up. And we'll see how far this will end up being, and they'll mark it just shy of the 50-yard line. So once again, great field position for the Eagles.
Yeah, I do think that ball was tipped. It was mighty close. He didn't react like he blocked it, but with the spiral on that ball, it did look like it was blocked. Now, I think George Bates might have hurt himself trying to lobby for that ball to be all the way inside the 40 because I think it was somewhere between the actual spot and where he wanted the ball. Looks like it's going to end up on the 48. Still in plus territory. Great field position for center point.
All right. Center Point coming back out with a 16-0 lead. 2 touchdown drives out of their 3. 1 ending on downs. And let's see if Dickerson is in there or more. Dickerson still in there. The backup quarterback or starter, whichever way you want to talk about it. They mix and match he and Moore. Dickerson drops back. Going long, got a man. Oh, right in his hands. And he dropped it. He was open as he was cutting to the middle of the field. Javion Taylor had it and just couldn't haul it in.
Boy, I think he had 2 guys open that would have been a touchdown. He had a wheel route going on the other side of the receiver there. There was one defender over there guarding both of them. He got caught in between. Both guys were wide open. If I said you had to catch that swing pass earlier, you definitely have to catch that one right there.
2nd down and 10. Whistle and play is dead. Usually that's a procedure call or maybe a timeout over there. They're talking to Keon Hanley on that far side. Talking to the officials. We call a timeout. We'll take a 1-minute break and come back with more timeout on the field. Center Point up 16-0 over Fultondale. You're watching Jeff Coed TV.
Hello, Jeff Coed family. This year, we are seizing the day to shape the future. You'll see that message on our social media channels, our website, and signs around your school. At Jeff Coed, we're all about offering numerous opportunities to our students. From our highly rated international baccalaureate school, to our signature academies, to our career tech and fine arts programs, to our elementary theme schools. We're looking to seize the day every day and capitalize on every opportunity in front of us. Seize the day, shape the future. This is Jeff Coed.
Welcome back to Jeff Coed TV. Second down and 10. Dickerson, whistle blows that one dead as well. False start, or procedure, I should say. So it should back up the Eagles 5. And it'll be second and 15.
During that timeout, I think it was the first time I noticed that we didn't take a heat timeout in that first quarter. And I think, if anything, I'm on the Fultondale sideline probably asking for every timeout I can get with the way Center Point has run the ball.
Definitely, they usually go at least 4 or 5 weeks into the season. Finnerson is flanked to the left of Dickerson with a 3 wide receiver set and a slot to the left. Fake to Finnerson. Dickerson trying to direct him, throws across his body, and that's just a little too high for his intended receiver. And that is Jaquari Busby. He was trying to hit down the seam and just a little too tall.
Yeah, I like the confidence that he has throwing the ball. Yes, there's been a couple of drops, but I think the reason that we're seeing Bates go with Dickerson at this point is with that 2-touchdown lead. I think you realize that you could run the ball, but you want to become two-dimensional at some point this season. A lot of these teams, you're not going to be able to just run the ball every single play, no matter how good they look. If you can get B.J. Dickerson going at quarterback, bring two-sided offense, I think that's what Bates is hoping to get out of this right now.
Fultondale creeping up with a blitz. It's picked up nicely by the Eagles. Dickerson escapes the first one, goes deep. He's throwing it up, but not much there. Good coverage downfield as he was trying to find Antonio Garfield, but great coverage down there by Kamani Parker, the senior, not letting Garfield get loose.
Like I said, he's showing off some arm strength right now. I can see why they think that they have something special with him playing quarterback and letting Dion Moore play elsewhere and maybe save some of his legs. Let him be in the return game. Let him be receiver. Let him be his defensive back. I can see why they want to make it happen, but that being said, he's 0 for 5 to start this game.
Well,
and they need something going in the passing game.
Yeah, and as we saw, the offense was really moving with Dion Moore, right? 2 touchdown drives. The running game was moving. Everything was rocking and rolling. In these last 2 or 3, to your point, yes, you could see that he has foot speed and talent and arm talent. They've just got to harness that a little bit better. Be interesting to see if they come back with more to get another touchdown. There's the punt away to the Wildcats, and I thought he had called a fair catch, but I guess he didn't. And he's knocked down immediately at the 25 for the Eagles. Nice play down there by number 15, Marquise Ziegler.
Yeah, before we get to the Fultondale offense, just to touch on B.J. Dickerson one more time, I think it is interesting that they don't go back and continue to run the ball because you want a quarterback in there who
they haven't stopped him yet. Really,
you give him some throws, but you want to build his confidence. He's going out and he's going backwards because of these incomplete passes and these sacks and this pressure. Let him hand the ball off a couple of times, get up the field, lead a drive, get him to the end zone, allow him to build some confidence. I think that's what you might start seeing if he returns to the quarterback position on the next drive.
All right, there's that big, beefy offensive line for the Wildcats. They should be able to run the football, so they've been held to not much happening so far in this game.
It's hard to miss Rashawn Wright over there at left tackle.
Woodall under center with no back. In motion, there's the handoff on the jet action to the wide receiver, Michael Yafondo. They like to get him the football, but again, 2 or 3 yards, and that's it for the Wildcats. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I like that play of the motion. Try to see if you can get the defense offset. But once again, I think that shows signs of a well-coached offense. They followed each bit of motion, and they were ready for the sweep. 5 yards, that's their most positive play of the night. But still, I think Fultondale was hoping for a little more out of that play.
Javion Taylor got there as a linebacker to help drag him down, and that is the best play for the Wildcats so far. And there's their second best play because they got a first down, their first of the night as they complete it over the middle to the intended receiver, Anthony Craig.
It's a freshman making a catch. The first completed pass. for the Wildcats.
Quick pace here. Woodall, hands off. That's Jackson, and he'll get to the 41-yard line and get about 7 or 8 on that left side. Moving the chains a little bit. 2nd down and 2.
This is exactly what they needed to get their offense going. I think we saw this a little bit last week when Hueytown had that drive right before the half, trying to build some momentum. I think Fultondale is trying to do the same thing here.
This time, boy, a little push pass from Woodall, but they'll get the first down as Jackson goes up there before Damon Canty knocks him out of bounds, but not before there's back-to-back first downs for the Wildcats.
Yeah, that one I have no doubt was a forward pass. You think you pretty much you could see that one not only from where we're sitting, from every camera on the field, I think.
Handoff inside, like everybody stopped there for a second, but another positive play as Jalen Fells, the senior, gets another 5 there, and George Bates doesn't like what's going on, and he's called timeout.
I think you could see Bates wanted that one. I mean, he didn't even wait for them to get set for another play. He just got going. He wanted that timeout. I wasn't impressed with the defensive line.
Let's check in with Chris Osborne while they're timeout because George Bates is getting his guys ready. Chris, it seems like the heat is kind of dissipated. It's not a bad night for the second week of high school football, right?
But I can tell you, this is physicality. This is a physical game where it's smash mouth. It's a lot of running. You've seen the blocks, and so it's really going to come down to, can Fultondale find a way to get back in this thing, or can Centerpoint continue to pound?
Yeah, they've been very successful pounding early on, but since they put B.J. Dickerson in, just trying to get him some reps, it is slowed, and now Fultondale has some momentum here with a couple of first downs and getting very close to being on the Centerpoint side of things, football at the 49-yard line.
I know this is a non-region game, but I think if Fultondale gets back into this game, especially if they come all the way back and win this game, you might have some regrets from Coach Bates on how he switched up the offense maybe a little too early.
Fells up the middle this time, and he gets knocked down. Kenton Brown off his defensive end position with that tackle. And it'll be 3rd down and 5. Again, split backs with Woodall, Jackson, and Fells. They hand to Jackson. Boy, great patient running as he waited on the great kick-out block there. And super run and super design as Jackson picks up a chunk on that one.
That's their first 3rd down conversion of the night. That was a really impressive run. I think that's something they need to get going. Obviously, last week he had the big game. That's the reason they were able to win. If they can get him going, this could be a completely different ballgame.
Centerpoint now with 5 guys on the line, and that helps a little bit. The helmet comes off of Fales, but he still gets 3 on that left side, and over there dragging him down was Armonte Graham, the free safety.
Yeah, that's an interesting rule there. As we know, in high school football, you cannot hurdle a defender. He hurdled his own man, so obviously no flag on that. Really quick reaction when his own lineman fell down in front of him to be able to get positive yards out of a busted play in the backfield.
And there's the signals coming in from the Fultondale sideline as they're trying to get back in this football game. 16-0, Centerpoint leading the game right now. 2nd down and 7. Swing pass off the fingertips, again, of Yafondo. They're trying to get him out there in space, and they've just been unable to execute that on about 3 or 4 attempts in different manners. They really need him to get his hands on the football.
Yeah, and I think we've seen these swing passes, these little screens. I don't know if the solution is shorter, maybe quicker. Don't have him going in motion. Just have him standing there ready for a screen pass. They got him the ball on a jet sweep one time, but these short throws just don't seem to be working tonight.
3rd down and 7. They've got to get to the 26-yard line basically for a first down. Three wide receiver set, 2 backs. 5-man line, of course. Woodall looks left, throws left, just too tall. He got some juice on the football, but just absolutely too tall for the intended receiver.
Yeah, I think that was probably a good thing. He put that ball only where his receiver could get it, and turns out no one could get it because I think the defender really jumped that route. Might have been a pick six going the other way. Not a bad throw, but now I think you're definitely in 4-down territory. I almost would have ran the ball there. If you think you're in 4-down territory, pick up a couple of those yards, see where you're at. Now you're in a longer situation at 4th and 7.
Got to go for it, as you said, 16-0. And you're in their territory. A punt doesn't really do you a whole lot of good down that much. Woodall. Jackson was going to move, but he stayed put, and now the timing's off on everything. So that's going to be flagged. That might change his decision to punt.
Yeah, I think that is I think you might have seen that early on when they were huddling. There was a group of receivers that was a little outside the huddle, and it looks like those are the 3 guys who moved when everyone else on this side of the field was on the same page of a hard count. They were trying to pick up those 5 yards, make it a manageable 4th down, and now I think you have to punt this, maybe try to pin them deep, and try to hang on for your next drive, win the field position battle.
4:15 to go here in the first half, and the good news is they could pin Center Point back, and they've done a nice job the last couple of drives. But the bad news is they had the drive going themselves and shot themselves in the foot with that execution. So Davis on to kick. We'll see if he could kind of touch it down inside the 15 or 10-yard line here.
There's no one back there right now for Center Point. They are playing it safe.
Little pooch kick does a nice job there, and that's going to bound and be touched initially and be right around the 10-yard line. And that's where Center Point will set up play.
I think you live with it being at the 10, but that's one of those things you teach your gunners. More experienced guys, I know you don't see them very often, experienced guys on special teams. But you don't panic when you get down there. That ball wasn't rolling into the end zone. Give it a second. Figure it out. Find the bounce. If he didn't touch that ball right away, you might have gotten at least 3 or 4 more yards out of that punt, which is a big deal when you're down inside the 10.
So Moore back in at quarterback. I think George Bates wants to get that running game going again here. You got about 3:38 to go. Might have to pick up the pace if he wants to run it. And football dropped. You got to get that going. And Moore's just going to be tackled in the backfield by a host of Wildcats. So the timing was well off on that. And there's also a flag down and a helmet down.
I didn't see – I mean, the helmet popped up very quickly, and that flag came out very late. So I'm not sure that's going to be related. Once again, that shows you where those few yards could have changed things. You have that ball down in the end zone on that snap. It might be a little bit more of a panic. Good job to be able to pick up that ball. Personal foul going against Center Point, which after he picked up the ball at the 6, it looked like, is going to be half the distance again.
I didn't see the personal foul call.
I think it had to be connected to the helmet being off.
Yeah, I would think.
When a player's helmet comes off, they're supposed to stop playing, and you're supposed to stop engaging with them. And when Fultondale's player's helmet came off, he continued to be blocked, and I think that's what the call was there from the umpire.
So Fenderson trying to get some running room, and boy, Fultondale is really on her in there right now. Torrance Goins has played nicely on defense. Not any running room there for the Eagles. And it's second down, and they might want to think about running some clock here with 3:14 to go. Second down at about 18.
Fultondale still has 2 timeouts as well. I think they might be thinking of, especially if you can get another stop on this play, maybe calling a timeout. I think this should be 3rd down, but it appears to be 2nd if that personal foul was after the play earlier.
And movement on the offensive line. That's not going to cost him much in real estate.
It's another yard, though, and that matters down here. They are taking the snap at the midway point of that end zone at this point.
And it's barely past the 1 yard line, it looks like. So Moore will try again. Good snap this time. Throws it out. Got a man. It's caught to the 32-yard line. How about that? They knew they had one-on-one coverage, and they found Garfield on the left side.
Yeah, that is. I think that's one of those plays where you just live with pretty much anything. You're not going to get sacked, and you just say drop back and throw it up, beat those defenders, and suddenly you could put this game away before halftime.
Well, it was good coverage by Jordan Bothwell, and now all of a sudden Moore is off to the races on the simple option. He's gone. That's a touchdown. That is 68 yards for Moore. And look at him. He found a seam, and that was it. Where was the offside backers?
You saw when he hit that seam that he was going to go all the way. I pointed. I was already writing down 68 on my sheet here. No one was going to catch him. He's the best athlete out there. We've seen them make that pitch several times tonight, and the defense once again overplayed it.
And there's more. They've got all kind of trickeration on the extra points, and that's another 2-point conversion. The Wildcats have no idea what to cover. So it's now 24-0. Center Point in control. 3 touchdown drives for Dion Moore. 3 for 3.
Yeah, and that one was about as in trouble as you can get. That one, you were back in your own one. You were having multiple penalties. You dropped a snap. But, hey, sometimes you just have to let your players go make a play. That's what George Bates decided. Throw one up, get out of your end zone. On the next play, you run 68 yards for a touchdown. You got to let your athletes play. And now this one almost feels out of hand with how the last couple of possessions went.
George Bates got to be happy there. 2:07 to go, as you see. 24-0. Center Point in control. Again, lost their first game of the year to Bessemer City. George Bates thought maybe we didn't practice physical enough. You're always wondering about that when your roster's about 50 to 55 guys, and you want to be physical enough, but maybe you weren't as physical. It's hot out here and all that kind of stuff. And he got his answer last Friday, and he got physical this week. And this team has responded so far in a big fashion, especially on that offensive line.
Yeah, I think that's, the way they're running the ball. Yes, I mean, the 68-yard touchdown, the big play on that drive was still the pass from out of the end zone. But the way they're running the ball tonight, and now that you have that lead, I don't know why you do anything else. You can run the ball. You can run the clock out. You have a 3-touchdown lead that with 3 2-point conversions feels like a 4-touchdown lead. So this one, that could be a backbreaker for Fultondale.
There's the kickoff, and it goes back and into the end zone, so that'll be a touchback for the Wildcats. So Fultondale had a couple of defensive stops, had finally put together a drive on the last possession, had to punt it away, and Dion Moore got inserted again, and that was it.
That's 78 passing yards for Moore, and then 87 rushing yards for Moore. That's what you want when you put the ball in the hands of your best player every single play.
And it was pretty much 2 big plays. The 32-yard pass, right, and pretty much the 68-yard or whatever it was, 68 yards, 69 yards, whatever they officially will give him for that touchdown run. There's a nice long throw for the Wildcats, but that was knocked away by Center Point on that back end side, and they're playing a lot of guys that aren't in there too deep. That's Cameron White, the sophomore, back there to defend against the pass.
That's a good-looking throw from Brandon Woodall, but I do think that the way that they're moving him in the pocket and in the backfield, really outside of the pocket, I feel like it limits his options when throwing the ball, and I think you've seen on a couple of those throws outside of the swing passes he doesn't have anyone to connect with. It's good coverage, but it's limited options.
Woodall down the field's got a man wide open. He had somehow there blown coverage there by the Eagles as the cornerback released, and he got between the safety and the corner. That would have gone for 6, but he just missed Jalen Fells, the running back, who was out there in that slot receiver position. Great call by Hanley. Now you see Woodall limping around. That's not good.
I almost felt like I spoke that into existence. Put him in the pocket, let him drop back, and fire the ball. He just missed him. As much as I was speaking highly of him, I almost wish he could have completed that ball. Would have been an 80-yard touchdown, but once again, now in a 3rd and long situation.
Woodall drops. Looks like he's gimpy out there. Can't escape like normal, and he is dropped in the backfield. Javion Taylor there. Caleb Parker Holt, 2 linebackers, bringing the rush, and he is sacked on 3rd down, and Fultondale will have to kick it away with 1:36 to go, and George Bates is wanting some clock put back on the timer.
Yeah, it looked like he calling timeout. He wants to get the ball back. I think the signal, there you go. There, we got it corrected now. Bates is going to want the ball back and try to give it another go to get into the end zone to extend this lead one more time before half.
Great night of action there. Fultondale, there's George Bates. Always wears a nice white, crisp shirt, as this is his office on Friday nights with the khaki pants and the bow tie action.
I always love seeing the bow tie. I feel like every week you see highlights from the Center Point game somewhere over the past couple of years and just been like, that's a good-looking bow tie.
Keon Hanley goes with the T-shirt. He's rolling up the sleeves and getting to work that way with the Fultondale Wildcats. Again, Fultondale under Hanley, they've won, I think, 5 games or so in the last few years, 2 years, right? But they only won 7 in the previous several years. So he's won 5, 4 last year, won his first year, and it took them a while to win 7. So Fultondale's on the way up, and you can tell they've got potential. They just got to get enough players and get enough belief and confidence and scheme and players to build that program back up.
Yeah, Keon Hanley is interesting because of his coaching career. He's had a couple of stops. His overall as a head coach record is 28-47, but that comes with 4 playoff appearances. And he wanted to be at Fultondale because of what they have with the new facilities and the new school. And obviously with his son Eric Hanley playing at Pleasant Grove, he was there as an offensive coordinator. And then he left to come to Fultondale, and I think he has them heading in the right direction.
Line drive kick for Posey, and he'll bring it back 2 or 3 yards. And it looks like Center Point will have it again on the Fultondale side of things. And we're getting a discussion here with the officials on a flag, and we'll see what this is all about. Looks like it would be about the 45-yard line, but they're picking up the flag, looks like. Nope, we got a hold against Center Point, so that'll back them up a little bit. Should put them on the other side of the 50 to their own 45-yard line. 1:24 to go in the first half.
See, now this is where I could see you get Dickerson in there, 1:24, 2-minute drill. You're not gonna, you want to throw the ball, get him in here, 55 yards to go. Go see if he can get himself some points and some confidence.
So Finnerson in there flanking, and they've got 4 wide receivers now. Trips to the right. Finnerson flanking Dickerson to his left. Now timeout. And George Bates is not going to like that, as you see him pretty animated on the sideline, because you're coming out of a dead ball, and you got to be more organized than that.
Yeah, I think I almost would say eat the 5 yards, because you know you're going to be throwing the ball, and that was your last timeout. And when you're in this situation in a 2-minute drill, you want to have a timeout in your pocket. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them. You might see that from a little bit more animation from Bates if it does, if they end up running out of time before this half ends. But you're right, out of a dead ball, that's the tough ones to swallow.
So they'll trot back out there again, and start this 1st and 10 from their own 45. Again, 1:24 to go here in the first half. Our Jeffco Ed TV game of the week, Fultondale Center Point. The Eagles in charge, 24-0, trying to add to that lead. Dickerson fires over the middle. Got a man in between that zone defense, and with a good catch on that sideline, or on the seam, I should say, Jaquadri Busby gets the catch in the first down, and they're on the move at the 44.
Well, he fired that pass. Really impressive throw. I thought if that went over the receiver, that was going to be intercepted, but a great catch, too.
Whistle and dead ball. Now what do we have? Movement on center point, looks like. That can happen sometimes when you're in a hurry, and it was a definite movement before the snap.
Looks like they almost called that he never got set to begin with. 13's looking over at the sideline asking what he did wrong. Or I think he might be asking the quarterback why the snap happened so quickly. I don't think he was ready for it.
So 1st and 15 at the 49. Fake to Finnerson. Dickerson looking, throws, and he got a man right there at the 31. Did he catch it?
He had 2 feet in bounds.
He caught that football.
I think he might have seen the flag thrown, and he didn't run forward. But
watch this play, because the defender kind of came up and stopped, and he just timed it wrong, and his feet are in bounds. So that's a catch for Kewan Posey. But, no, it's a flag down, so that's why.
Now, I do
that
think
was a very odd play.
I think it's funny because you look at that replay. He actually stepped out and then came back in to catch the ball, and that
that's
was a
what they
flag
called.
not
Right.
thrown.
Oh,
they
wasn't
called
thrown.
They called it. It looked like a holding back here.
Really bizarre play. Watch this
play
again.
Watch his left foot step out and then come back in.
Yeah.
And then the defender mistiming their jump, lands it in. If there's no penalties on that, he could have run that in for a touchdown. But
Kabani Parker just kind of ran up and very much mistimed that.
Instead, it's 1st and very long.
Jump, because that was just a lob down the sidelines. Now Dickerson fires over the middle and into traffic. Good coverage there by Carrington Mitchell as they had a beat on the intended receiver, Jaquadri Busby.
Yeah, once again, this is you start to feel a little bit for B.J. Dickerson, the offense, the situations he's put in. He's made a couple of good throws. He's missed a few throws. But these penalties, going backwards, not running the ball, not being in running situations, they're trying to score points, and I feel like it might be getting to him. He's 1 for 7 now through the air.
2nd down. Long way for a 1st down. Dickerson over the middle again. Overshoots everybody, trying to find Busby again. But not there. Parker on that coverage, and that wasn't even close.
Yeah, that looked more of a miscommunication than a misfire. I think he signaled over to the sideline that he thought it was going to be more of a fly route than a post. Didn't give anybody a chance on that ball. Once again, plenty of zip on it. He's just got to learn to control it.
3rd down and forever. They got to get to the 34-yard line of Fultondale. So 27 yards for a 1st down. This is, I assume, maybe 2-down territory with 36 seconds. I don't know. They're on 39. They might not chance that. But Dickerson, they look like they want to screen, and they throw it, just snuffing it out. There's another flag down. But they try the screen, and just a great play. Watch this on the individual tackle.
Yeah, he timed that perfectly to get up there. I think we might have a man downfield. It looked like several linemen ended up getting out there a little too quick, and the screen pass was actually caught in front of the line of scrimmage.
That was Jaden Gordon with the hard tackle for the Wildcats.
The clock should be running, and I'm not even sure they are going to need to punt this ball unless Fultondale calls a timeout.
They haven't started the clock on the field yet, and we're at under 20. Here you see it melting away.
They're still trying to find the spot. I'm not sure why the clock is running. The Fultondale coach is asking the referee as well, but it looks like some of their players are already walking off. the sideline over there.
And that clock will go out. They won't listen to the pleas of Keon Hanley. And that'll do it for the first half. Center Point Eagles with 3 touchdown drives led by Dion Moore, most of it on the ground, including a long 68-yard touchdown run by him, 24-0 at the half. Chris Osborne making his way down to the coach as he's about to ascend into the locker room. George Bates trying to get over there. And again, we got both bands coming up here at the half, the Fultondale band and the Center Point band.
All right, Coach, you're down, obviously, a few scores here. What are you going to have to do to get your offense going and get your defense making some stops?
Play Fultondale brand of football. Right now, we're not executing offensively, defensively. We're not reestablishing the line of scrimmage the way we normally do. We have to be able to run the football to set up our passing game. We have to be able to get off the field on third down. We had them pinned deep. We give up a seam right. We're in phase. We got to be able to make that play. We're just not playing our brand of football, and it's unacceptable.
All right, Coach, thanks for talking to us.
All right, Chris, there you go. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more from the halftime of the Fultondale Wildcats band. You're watching Jeffco Ed TV.
Hello, Jeff Coed family. We are excited to announce our signature academies. Here's what you can look forward to.
The Jeff Coed Academy for College Excellence is a school within a school model.
This partnership is one that will allow those students to not only get just college credit while they're in high school, but it will also allow them to potentially complete their high school diploma and the associate degree from Lawson State at the same time. And that is an exciting opportunity for our students.
The goal of ACE would be to encourage more students to see college as an option for themselves and to assist them in successfully negotiating the college path and experience.
Great class to learn how to do things for life.
They will learn how to do some electrical work at home, how to do some of their own plumbing, and how to maintain their yard, shrubbery, and what it is to plant a garden.
I like culinary arts because I like trying new things and learning to make things for my family. You get to learn all these new recipes and just really enjoy yourself and learn new cooking ways.
Down the tabs on either side of the stick of RAM. Maybe orange or red.
There should be 3 certificates they can get when they come out of the base school program, and then when they get into the actual cybersecurity program at Jeff State, they will have so many more opportunities.
Learn that one and then move back.
We make cool things, get to try cool things, play with robots.
Hi, my name is Mr. Screws. I'm the visual arts teacher at the Special Effects Academy. Our program for special effects is the only special effects class in the entire southeastern United States.
It just lets me feel myself. It's fun. I get to see my friends and everything.
And this is just the beginning. Jeff Coed's Signature Academies. Learn today and experience forever.
Welcome back to the Jeffco Ed TV game. Scott Griffin and Caleb Turrentine here. Chris Osborne roaming the sidelines, dominating first half. Well, George Bates might disagree with that, but on the scoreboard, and certainly when Dion Moore was the quarterback, they were definitely dominating with the run game and that offensive line responding to the physical play calls, and that's how we are at 24-0 here as we go into the second half. Now, Fultondale's not done a lot at all offensively, obviously with a 0 on the scoreboard. They did have one brief moment where they got about 3 first downs or so, moved the football, and then that dissipated, and that's been the story of the first half.
Yeah, that's 280 yards of offense for Center Point, 191 of them coming on the ground. Meanwhile, Fultondale only has 40 yards of offense, and I think we've seen times where some of those deep pass plays could have worked out, and they just missed them. So I think Fultondale needs a response, and they need it quickly, and I think if they get it, you're going to see it come through the passing game.
And there's the kick by the Eagles. Fultondale bringing it back across the line to the 37 yard line before he is belted down there, and that's where the Wildcats will set up shop here for their first possession of the third quarter and the second half. Good look at the defense. There's Deion Moore right there, who's been terrific offensively at quarterback, number one, but also a obviously talented secondary performer and a collegiate recruit, certainly at that discipline. There's another offsides against Center Point, and that'll move it and make it 1st and 5.
Yeah, you mentioned Deion Moore. He committed to play at Austin Peay. Good. I mean, if you're a high school player, you're committing to a Division I level, FCS, FBS. I don't really care. That's impressive. And he's going to be a player that will be playing on Saturdays and starting, I believe, in that Austin Peay program.
1st down and 5. Handoff to the second man through Jackson. He gets away from the first defender, and he's got a 1st down as he gets 9 yards on that other side. Trying to grab his shoestrings with Caleb Parker Holt. He failed. Tubbs failed. And finally, they drug him down, but not before Fultondale gets their 1st down. Maybe what? 5 on the night, maybe 4 or 5?
I have them down for 4, yeah. That's their 4th
Not
one.
many.
No, Jackson's up to 42 yards. They got him going in that drive that nearly paid off. I like that they go back to him, not get too desperate too early. Stick with your game plan.
Jackson and Fales, they hand to Fales this time, and he's wrapped up immediately with that penetration. Coming hard was Terrence Tubbs, the linebacker, and then some other guys stepped in there and corralled him, including Javion Taylor, number 8 right there. So a loss of 2, 2nd and 12.
You can't get behind the sticks if you're Fultondale. That's not something you can sustain. You got into plus territory. You got to be able to capitalize on an early drive, early possession. You get the ball first, and you're down by 24. It feels like a must-score possession. You had a good start. Can't go backwards. Can't get behind the sticks.
Center Point again, 2 guys with hands in the dirt, 2 stand up. Here comes pressure from the outside. Boy, they got a man open, but a great hit, and a flag is down. Damon Canty came up hard as the football was caught initially. I think that's Yafando he's got to go off with his cleats, but it's a holding on Center Point. But he had the ball in his hands, but boy, did Canty come up and belt that away.
Yeah, there's been some drops tonight that you're not exactly thrilled about. That one I think you live with. What a hit right here. And the timing of it. It's not even the power behind the hit. It's the timing of it.
Yeah.
No pass interference. You hit him as soon as that ball hit his chest. Able to knock it loose. Unfortunately, didn't matter with the penalty.
So 1st down and 10 on the defensive holding from the 40-yard line. They hand to Jackson. Not a lot of running room, but he'll still navigate his way for 4 or 5 there before he was drugged down by Jamorian Fuller, number 58.
I've been really impressed with Jackson tonight. I know he hasn't – I mean, this offense, it's hard to find some positive points, but he's going to be a guy that they rely on a lot this season. And he's going to win them some games. I think we saw it last week, but be able to rely on him, that could be a difference in this offense being good enough to compete in the playoffs.
We'll give him 4 yards on that, so it'll be 2nd down and 6. Handoff inside, the boy swamping inside, and there again is that penetration by big number 58, Jamorian Fuller. He just whipped his man on that right side of the line and caused that play to get nowhere.
And even a play that looked like it was a disaster, he loses only 1 yard. Again, it's the patient running and being able to, once again, make this third manageable, although they might be down on offensive linemen right now.
So Keon Hanley out on the field to take a look at his offensive lineman. We'll take a break with this opportunity and come back. 24-0, Center Point on top. You're watching Jeffco Ed TV. And the injured Fultondale lineman, Deshaun Wright, makes his way to the sideline. So they'll bring in another there. And Fultondale with a big offensive line. We'll go to Chris Osborne in just a moment. We're going to talk to some members of the Eagles band in just a second. First of all, third down and about 7 from the 36-yard line.
This is a situation that Fultondale found themselves in on the drive earlier. I said maybe they should try to pick up a few yards, make it 4th and manageable. Let's see what they do here.
Woodall looking, trying to escape, and he's drugged down. Javion Taylor's been, we've called his name several times tonight. That may be about a yard or so gain, but now it's 4th down and 6. Watch Taylor come in on the blitz. They blocked him initially, then gave up on him. He kept playing and ended up tackling Woodall for a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, impressive Woodall held on to that ball. That nearly looked like it could have spun out of there. He managed to actually gain a yard, not a sack, but a really good tackle and a must-have 4th down here for the Wildcats.
4th down, and the football's got to get almost to the 29-yard line. You see those 3 receivers down low on your screen, but he's looking left as Woodall, and it looks like the receiver fell on his cut. Over there defending was Antonio Garfield, but now there's a cramp, it looks like, by the Fultondale receiver, but that's going to do it for the Wildcats as the Eagles take over on downs. Let's go down to Chris Osborne, who's got a member of the band right now. Chris, what do you got?
Well, I tell you what, there are heroes on field and there are heroes off the field. And right now we have a hero off the field. And I'm going to sit down beside my new friend. Tell everybody your name.
Caitlin Ellison.
All right. So Caitlin and I share something familiar. If our cameraman will pan down. So you are out on the field. You're playing the flute. Tell me about you playing in the band.
Basically, marching band has been my dream for a while. And my mama kind of inspired me to play. So I was like, I saw the marching band one day, and I was like, okay, I think I can do it. So when it was time for tryouts, I just came and tried out.
That's awesome. Well, look, I liked you. I saw you out there doing your thing. Let's get a knee bump. All right, here we go. All right. Back to you guys upstairs.
Thank you, Chris. Awesome to see with kids still battling in life. Chris is very familiar with that himself, living life to its fullest extent. 2nd down and 6 after the 4-yard gain. The Eagles, again, they've got their quarterback, their backup Dickerson in, and again, the running game, and it's not Dickerson's fault, but just telling you the story of the game, Fenderson has had holes to run when Moore is in, and it seems like they've disappeared when Dickerson is in. It's not Dickerson's fault, but that's just what's happened.
I think we saw, especially early on, they were running that option. The defense is set up to respect the play from Deion Moore. They tried not to let him get loose and allowed Fenderson that more of that space. Of course, Deion Moore had the long touchdown run. I'm not sure they're expecting the same thing from Dickerson. They're able to focus in a little bit more on the dive option instead of on the quarterback.
Good ball fake by Dickerson, throwing, rolling right. Got a man that's dropped. He had a man wide open, and he kind of jumped in the air when he perhaps didn't need to. Antonio Garfield, and just dropped the ball.
Yeah, I think we can talk about Dickerson maybe not having his best game, and he hasn't. He's missed some throws, but boy, 2 drops. 2 drops, one on that one across the middle of the field, deep ball that would have been a touchdown, and then that one would have been 15 yards and a first down. That could change a feeling of a quarterback with just those 2 completions back. And so, yeah, you're right. Something about the offense just not clicking right now when he's in the game.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. Again, it's not his fault. That's not what we're saying. It's just the way it's happening right now. So now another flag down. I didn't even see what was called, but they're marching center point back. I don't know if it's a clock violation or what, but the clock says 24.
That looks like that would have been 10 yards right there. and they accepted the penalty.
Now they're calling timeout. So we got all kind of stuff happening over here on the sidelines for Center Point, and we got a timeout on the field.
It looks like there was a 10-yard penalty on 3rd down. The Fultondale sideline wanted to decline it to make it 4th down, obviously, after the incomplete pass. They marked it off before saying it was declined. So it looks like that play is going to count. An incomplete pass, decline penalty. Now it'll be 4th down, and Center Point's punt team is out there.
Well, now they're putting the football back where it belongs on that 37. So a little chaotic on the field as well. 4th down and 7. So Center Point will kick it away. Jackson is back for the kick. Boy, almost got it blocked. So that makes an errant kick, but it's going to take an Eagles roll and continue to go and be very close to the 25-yard line at about the 26 for that punt. So it'll look good on the stat sheet, but it was very short in flight.
Yeah, that was a little scary if you're a Fultondale fan watching that ball come down. It just barely missed a couple of the players. Could have been another disaster for them. But now they get the ball back and still trying to make something work on the offensive side.
So, Fultondale trying to get something going. 24-0, Center Point in control, although they're not playing flawlessly. A lot better, though, under George Bates and playing more physical than they did in week 1. Fultondale, meanwhile, they're worried about their own deal and trying to just get something going. Only 4 first downs tonight, and 3 of those in one drive.
They did get a 5th one. They got one from a penalty.
So
on the
5 total, yeah. So 5 technically, 4 by their own play design. Fells and Jackson flanking Woodall, and he just seems like he's in trouble immediately as he's sacked. And there's Javion Taylor again, and also number 58, Jamorian Fuller again.
That's 4 sacks on the night.
He doesn't even have a chance to look downfield, does he?
I mean, I don't know if they give him one option. If he's not looking, he looks up, he doesn't see something, and all of a sudden that pocket is collapsed. He's got to look for room. Maybe that's why early on you could see that they were trying to get him out on the run and roll to be able to make a pass.
The feet start dancing very quickly, so the offensive line not holding up for him. There's a big hole for Jackson. He cuts out on the outside. Beautiful cut on the inside as Yafondo had a nice block. Jackson cut behind it to pick up about 5 more. Watch the work on the outside right here.
Great stiff arm there, then be able to get the block down. Very patient running. I think you've been able to say that a lot tonight about Jackson. Really impressed by him, again, even with the 0 on the scoreboard.
Any long run normally has wide receiver blocking, and that was 2 good blocks by the wide receivers down there to get that first down for Fultondale. We'll see if that gets him going. Timeout on the field as we have, I guess, a heat timeout. There's some of the Center Point fans. One lady in particular getting into it with the band and the pom-poms shaking here on the east side of Birmingham. Nice night.
It is. It's become a nice night. Once the sun wasn't out too much like it was last week, it might not be as cool as it was last week, but certainly it feels like a good Friday night for some high school football.
Absolutely. And there's you can see that line. They've got some size on them. But they've certainly had trouble with the quickness, I think, of that Center Point front 7 tonight. Woodall bring his mates out here. That offensive line, Omi Blue, Tyke Johnson, Tobias McWilliams, Taylor Hill, and Deshaun Wright. Handoff, Jackson, left side, cuts inside. He's got 8 more on the left side with some hard running, dragging some Eagle defenders with him on that side, including Antonio Garfield, the cornerback, who's now limping along there, and we'll see if he's going to come out of the game. George Bates trying to wave him off, and he's going to fall to the field. Let's go down the sideline. Chris Osborne with the trainers down there. Chris.
Hey, guys, so we talk about what happens on the field, but we also have to talk about the people that take care of the people on the field. I have a new friend that I'm walking up on, so tell me about being on the sideline.
Being on the sidelines is cool. You just have to make sure you're watching out for the football players, make sure nobody's getting ran over. And my job is to fill up the waters and give out Gatorade, make sure everybody's okay and not drinking too much Gatorade. So being on the field is pretty nice, just watch out.
But you said you had to apply for this, right? You had to interview with this?
Yeah, you have to have an interview to make sure you're on the right track and want to be an actual trainer and not just come out here to play or do things that are unnecessary.
Well, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for taking care of your athletes. So, guys, you heard it here first. It takes a lot to get the football game going on the field, off the field, and in the training room.
All right, Chris, no doubt about that. And especially in the heat, even though tonight's not too horrible, but I suspect we're going to have heat down there a lot before we get to the cooler weather and we don't have to worry about it. George Bates on the field. You see him there in your bottom right of your screen in the white shirt getting his defense set on 2nd and 8 as Jackson has found a couple of nice long runs here back-to-back. They give it to Fells, and he'll live up to his name, falling to the ground there for the tackle made by Kenyon Brown from his defensive end position. There's the clock. 5 minutes to go in the third, and Center Point in control. 24 coming on 3 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. So 3rd down and 2. Straight handoff up the middle. Not much there at all. Center Point coming in, knifing in. Again, big number 52. And that's Willie Kimball coming in. Also, Caleb Parker Holt helping him out and a couple of other teammates as well. 4th down and 2. You got to go for it here?
I think you have to. I'm surprised that Jalen Fells has gotten the last 2 carries with how Jackson got them to this point. I think this ball has to be in the hands of Jackson on this 4th and 2.
Handoff. Jackson inside. He's got that burst. He's down the left sideline. 30, 25, 15, 10, spinning. Slung out of bounds at the 14-yard line. And to your point, Caleb, they gave it to Jackson, and he hit that hole in a hurry.
Yeah, he did. I think I need to go down there and submit my application for an offensive coordinator. You might leave you up here in the booth, but no, he maybe those last 2 plays gave him a little bit of rest that he needed. He hit that hole. I thought he was going to the house. Really well done to chase him down, but a big play, certainly Fultondale's biggest offensive play of the night.
And timeout on the field as Center Point calls timeout, and George Bates wants to get his team regrouped as well. We'll take a 1-minute break here on Jeffco Ed TV. You're watching the Eagles and the Wildcats. Stay with us. Welcome back to Jeffco Ed TV. Scott Griffin, Caleb Turrentine, Chris Osborne here, our great crew. Our second game of football here. We did some baseball and softball last year and had a great time. We got a bunch of events coming up this year. We hope you enjoy. Full slate of football, obviously, and had a great game last week with Hueytown and Clay Chalfel. Tonight, Fultondale Center Point. There's the pitch to Jackson, breaks a tackle, lunges forward to the 2, maybe the 3 is where they'll mark him. And Fultondale getting very close to scoring a touchdown here. Good blocking at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was a good shoestring tackle there because honestly, with the way he's been running the ball, Jackson, I thought he was going to break that tackle and make it into the corner. At this point, when you're down here, you'll take any kind of tackle to keep him short. Picked up about half the distance there.
So the pistol formation with Jackson behind Woodall. And obviously they got a power right formation there with a couple extra blockers on the right end. Woodall now under center. Handoff. They go the right side, and he's still churning his legs, but what an individual tackle. And again, there's that man, Javion Taylor, from his outside backer position.
Well, that was a little bit of a weird, slow-developing play. It almost looked like they were just going to let those two guys go at it one-on-one, and no one seemed to gang up on either side of the line. You usually see pushes from offensive linemen, defensive linemen to push them back, but just a really good individual effort there.
And Jaquaria Busby also in there as well. 3rd down and goal. Woodall looking to throw, which surprises me, dumps it off. It's intercepted at the 3. He's going to go to the house. Center Point is going to score a defensive touchdown. Armonte Graham, the free safety, on the 97-yard touchdown return.
Well, I think you got to know when to throw the ball away here. You'll see it here. I see he's trying to direct him, but he just makes it too obvious what he's trying to do in that situation, and especially when you're right there. Once that ball is intercepted, no one's catching him. There's no one in front of him between him and the end zone. I called something earlier a backbreaker. That right there is the backbreaker for Fultondale in this game.
So, touchdown. Touchdown Eagles. 30-0. That time scoring on the defensive side of the ball. Armonte Graham, who's had a few tackles in this game, now scoring a touchdown on the pick from Woodall.
I had that down as a 97-yard interception return for a touchdown. You got to think that's got to be one of the longest plays, if not the longest play, in Center Point High School history.
Defensively, certainly. Oh, there's a snap, and now Fultondale has it. They're running down, but that's not going to count. Boy, that would have been something else as Jordan Bothwell, the starting safety, intercepted it. That looked like he's been studying film all week. Most of the two-point plays have looked so wide open that they weren't expecting anything. He read that like a book.
That looked like he had seen one too many three-point conversions tonight. So you know what? That's enough. We're stopping this.
Crazy happenings here tonight. So, unfortunately, he can't score on that like he can at some levels of football, so that just stops it.
I would have taken a 30-2.
I wish they would let that.
That's 30-2 right there. What a score. You don't see that very often.
Absolutely. But at least they stopped the score, but that doesn't stop the crowd getting into it, and the Center Point band with the staccato clapping and enjoying themselves tonight as their football team will get in the win column for the first time likely for the 2024 season. Having a good time tonight here on the east side of Birmingham on a nice night. Scott Griffin, Caleb Turrentine, the Jeff Coed TV crew here. Outstanding crew. John Rocket making us look good here. John Huddleston, our executive producer, and all the great camera guys and everybody here. Got Jake over here on the instant replay.
You know, since the 2 touchdown lead hasn't been playing poorly, and I think they've matched Center Point most plays, but it's the plays that Center Point has just done a little bit more. It's been that 31-yard pass play from the 1, the 68-yard touchdown run, and then that 97-yard interception return. Those 3 plays are why this game is out of hand right now, as opposed to feeling competitive.
There's a kick. It looked like it was straight sideways out of bounds. Not sure what's happening on that kick. And George Bates can't be happy with that. Flags down, and that's going to be incredible field position for Fultondale.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to do an onside kick, I'm not sure you could get it to bounce that high again. That was actually really impressive. I know coach isn't going to think impressive when you hit a flag in field position, but
I mean, that's not even on the Fultondale side of the field.
That ball bounced one time and flew all the way to the track. That's how far that bounce happened. I got to say, I don't know how
a lot of air,
right?
right?
I was impressed by it.
So Woodall comes back out. Fultondale just needs to get something happening. Keon Hanley, after the opening win last week against Linden, they just want to get something going so they can get some momentum for next week. And there's Jackson on the left side, who's played well tonight. But he's wrapped up on that one by Caleb Parker Holt, the linebacker. And he's got a good night going individually, but them as a team, they've shown a few flashes, but not enough.
Yeah, he actually has 118 yards rushing tonight. That long run that got them inside the 10 earlier, so it put him over the century mark for the second straight game. But it's interesting because in that last game, even in the win over Linden, he rushed for 130 yards, did not score a touchdown on the ground. Something similar is happening tonight. They've got to learn how to finish these drives.
Jacaleb Smith on that tackle from defensive end position. There he is, number 19, good-looking player, but not before Fells gets 5 yards. Fells and Jackson are a nice two running back combination, but the offensive line play has been very inconsistent with that quick front for the Eagles. And you can see they put 3 in the dirt, 1 standing up. Here comes a blitz. Woodall has to escape, and he runs out of bounds. He'll pick up very close to the first down, maybe a couple of yards shy over there.
Yeah, you could tell that's a sign of a frustrated quarterback right there. He could have stepped out, saved a hit, but he went in, and I think he was the one who efforted that hit on the sideline. Good contact from both players there.
Woodall takes it, throws. Not enough for the receiver to catch and run with it, but he does get the first down as he finds his intended target, Jackson, over there in the slot. So he's catching it and running it tonight. You can see his hands on his hips, getting a little fatigued over there.
I think you'll take your 4 yards where you can get him. That's a second 4-yard reception tonight. But that's the first completion that Fultondale has had, and I believe with less than 30 seconds to go in the third quarter, that's nearly 15 minutes of game time.
Woodall stops, got a lane to run, quickly closes, though, and coming up from behind, who had already run past him, was the rusher, Terrence Tubbs, and he catches it from behind. That should be the final play, 6-5, and that'll be the final play of the third quarter. So, with the score 30-0, Center Point on top of Fultondale. We'll take a break. You're watching Jeff Coed TV.
Hello, Jeff Coed family. This year, we are seizing the day to shape the future. You'll see that message on our social media channels, our website, and signs around your school. At Jeff Coed, we're all about offering numerous opportunities to our students. From our highly rated international baccalaureate school, to our signature academies, to our career tech and fine arts programs, to our elementary theme schools. We're looking to seize the day, every day, and capitalize on every opportunity in front of us. Seize the day, shape the future. This is Jeff Coed.
Welcome back. Scott Griffin, Caleb Turrentine here, and Chris Osborne roaming the sidelines. Center Point doing some jumping jacks down there, getting ready for the fourth quarter. Getting hyped up.
We're going to do any up here?
Yeah, as they're going to head into the win column, it looks like, pretty safely now with only 12 minutes to go in this football game. And George Bates, you know, they've been talking playoffs around here a little bit. He's got, 7, 8 straight winning seasons. He's won 47 games in this decade alone. They only won 32 in the decade before. Woodall going deep. He got a man. That's a great pass. Is that a touchdown? He got it. What a touchdown, and what a throw by Woodall.
That was a throw into double coverage. I think Deion Moore's sitting there in the end zone. He hasn't gotten a chance in the secondary all night, and he had his hands on that ball, but it got bobbled between.
Look at that.
That actually just sticks to his hands. That was never bobbled.
Yafondo.
What a throw, what a catch.
Yeah, Michael Yafondo with an incredible catch, but what a throw by Woodall, and we're just kind of sitting here,
I think we
calling the game, and they've been running between tackles pretty much, and then they take a shot and score a touchdown in double coverage. And Deion Moore was in coverage there.
He was right there.
And they completed anyway. So at least Fultondale gets on the board.
The way that ball just stuck to the receiver's chest there, I don't know if you could have thrown that more perfectly. It almost looked like they were sticking him on the ball. He didn't even need his hands. Just stayed there.
And I don't know what happened if they got – it's no good. Got tipped a little bit at the line of scrimmage. So 30-6 Center Point, but George Bates is talking to Deion Moore right now, and you can see he's very animated down there. Moore talking to George Bates there on about the 20-yard line. And he just don't want any slippage right now, right? No. And look, it took us by surprise because they've been running. They take a shot and they score.
I think that's something, he wouldn't be very happy if I went down there and told him what you said at the start of the fourth quarter, how they were already in the win column. But
they are already in the win column, by the way.
I think I feel comfortable
with that,
too.
by that statement.
But that's the kind of play, and I'm not even sure the defense really fell asleep. I mean, they were there. They were in position. That's just a play you expect your guys to make at the goal line. But, hey, I think you got to also give it to Fultondale a little bit on they executed just as well. They earned that touchdown.
So, Center Point will get it there. Certainly got their onside kick coverage team in, and everybody pretty much, even the deep guys, are at the 20. So we'll see what happens and what Keon Henley decides to do for the Wildcats as their head coach. See, 3. Okay, 11 guys for the Eagles. Thought they might have an extra guy, but here we come with the kickoff attempt. It is a onside attempt, bounces up and loose. Who got it? It looks like Fultondale did get it. Number 17 for Fultondale. That's Jordan Bothwell, the starting safety. Great kick.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I'm surprised. I know that there wasn't an onside kick formation, but that there were so many players back for Center Point. I think you got to get your lines together a little bit better and understand that some kind of pooch kick, squib kick, I mean, that was a great onside kick, but it bounced, 20 yards. So really well executed, and good job by Fultondale for getting up there and getting on top of the ball.
All right, Fultondale trying to get some momentum here as the fourth quarter keeps going. It's still 11:47 to go, 30-6 right now, and we'll see what they dial up here. They stepped up and threw a long touchdown pass their last play after running with Jackson pretty much, and now George Bates very animated again on the sideline. And I don't know if he called timeout, but his group has suddenly become kind of listless.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a, feeling too comfortable with the lead or if this is confusion on defense after a dead ball. But I think that might still come from the fact from that last touchdown pass, because they threw a touchdown pass. They're coming over on the sideline. They're getting it from their coach, their position coach, their defensive coordinator, and then suddenly, seconds later, you got to get back out there and get lined up. So I think might have been some confusion, certainly maybe some lackluster attitudes going back out there, and Coach Bates saw it, and he's not afraid to use the timeout when he sees that.
Yep, and there you can see he's pretty animated. He's got a 36 lead. He don't want any slippage, though, especially when you haven't won a game so far. You've not arrived yet. So he's trying to jump some life into the Eagles defensively as Fultondale's got the ball back-to-back possessions after the onside kick. Woodall drops. Looking. Ran right into the arms of I got the wrong chart. That's Kenton Brown, I should say. Sorry about that. Kenton Brown, a defensive end. He ran right into his arms as he was trying to escape, and it looks like he's done that virtually every time he drops back. He's looking to run. Good shot of Brown there.
Sack number 6 on the night for Center Point. Not sure if they'll top Clay Chalkville's 10 that we saw last week, but certainly has been a factor in this game.
Second down, 15, and there's a player down on the end of the field, and I don't know if that's a cramp or what. Certainly on a sack, you wouldn't expect. Yeah, it looks like it might be a cramp. I can see his calf kind of cramping up. That's Garfield, the defensive back, who's had a nice night. And they need to grab him and help him off the field.
He's about to have a cramp in that left leg.
Yeah, he's about to because he's still going. So they need to grab him and help him get off, get some pickle juice in him, and get back on the field. So 2nd down and 15 for the Cats as they got a little free timeout on that one. See what they want to call and see if they dial up another shot at the end zone. Ufondo's in there, number 9, who had that touchdown catch right there on the inner slot of your picture. Woodall drops, throws right side, got a man, and dropped it again. Trying to find him, he was open. They're giving cushion on that side over there, but Eric Brown just could not catch the football. A little bit low, but catchable.
Yeah, I think it looked like he might have lost his footing coming back and started falling, and my ball might have just gotten him in his face mask a little bit there. But, yeah, once again, a fine throw. Should have been a completion. Would have been an easier 3rd down, and now, once again, Fultondale's in the 3rd and long situation.
Obviously 2-down territory, I would think, trailing 30-6. So we'll see what they dial up here on 3rd and 15. They got to get to the 30-yard line. And this is a new quarterback, actually, I kept saying Woodall, and I just noticed instead of 3, it is 8, and that's Victor Bridges, who is in the game. Not sure what that's about for the Fultondale Wildcats. So 4th down and 15. Don't know if Woodall got a cramp or something. It certainly didn't look like anything was wrong on that touchdown pass.
Yeah, now I'm starting to question everything I saw in that last drive. It was Woodall who threw that touchdown pass.
Yes. This is definitely Victor, and he's going deep again, throws a lollipop, but it's going to sail out of bounds harmlessly. And it'll be Center Point's football. And I don't think do you see a flag? I do see a flag on the middle of the field that probably be picked up. It is against Fultondale. They'll pick it up, and Center Point will get the football at the 45-yard line. So the onside kick was not harmful to the Eagles, but certainly the Wildcats had a chance there to, make this game a little bit more interesting. Oh, they are going to mark it off. Sorry about that. Personal foul, I guess. 15-yard variety to the 40-yard line now of the Wildcats. So that's where Center Point will set up their play.
And it looks like Center Point is going away from Dion Moore, taking snaps, probably trying to save his legs a little bit in a game, not letting him play every single snap on both sides of the ball.
Dickerson's played a lot. He runs it there, but he's drugged down. Nice game by Nadarius Davis. Number 0 for the Fultondale Wildcats, a middle backer. He's been all over the field tonight, sideline to sideline, making good plays.
Like I said, Fultondale really hasn't felt like they've been too outplayed since that first quarter. Yes, Center Point dominated that first quarter. Fultondale only ran 3 offensive plays. But it's been the big plays that have changed this game, and that's why we're sitting with a 30-6 Center Point lead.
That time he pitched a nice one to Fenderson, but everybody came up hard. There's Davis again coming up hard. Jordan Bothwell as well. And so that's a loss of about 4. They attacked the quarterback. That was perfect option defense. Attack the quarterback, take away that option early, and then attack where he's got to go.
Might be the first time we've seen them play that
Yep.
perfectly tonight. That option has given them some problems.
So 3rd down and 12, and now George Bates calls another timeout.
I believe that's his last one.
And he's talking to his offensive coaches. And very animated again. He is not liking the way the second half has gone, particularly the fourth quarter, Caleb. As you can see, he's very animated.
Yeah, I don't know if he's talking to a sideline. Maybe he's not feeling enough energy on the sideline even when a play is going on. He doesn't see it from his defense, not from his offense. I think he just wants to see a little bit more focus. It feels, I mean, we can kind of give that feeling from up here.
Yeah.
We thought the game was over. Maybe they are too, and that focus has just drifted a little
They
bit.
were definitely focused at the beginning, though, jumping out to a 24-0 lead and controlling the line of scrimmage. But, again, George coaches like there's no scoreboard, and that's the way most good coaches do it. He's coaching to a level of play, and he does not see that level of play right now, although he's leading 30-6.
Yeah, and I think it's probably since the interception return. A long interception return, big play. But even on that two-point conversion, just a lackluster sideways snap, and that's what had that interception on the two-point conversion. I think things have just been a little off from the Bates standard, I'd say.
3rd down and 12. Fitterson, they ball fake it to him. Going deep, got a man. Great catch to the 4-yard line. Dickerson finds his man, and that is Jaquari Busby on the catch. So they pop one long.
Just the second completion for Dickerson.
Good coverage.
That was good coverage. It was a good ball and a good job of getting up and high pointing that ball off a defender's helmet.
Up to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. Fitterson very close for the touchdown, but they stack him up there. A host of Wildcats there. But Fitterson, I would imagine he's doing that little Ezekiel Elliott feed me routine there with Ezekiel Elliott's number. So I would think they're going to do just that with 21 here.
I think he's wanting another touchdown today.
They do, and he's in. Touchdown, Center Point. That makes it 36-6. So, a big answer there. Fitterson getting in the end zone. He's a powerfully built kid at the tailback position for the Eagles.
Second touchdown of the night for Fitterson. Not as explosive here in the second half, but I'm not sure you could say any part of Center Point's offense has been as explosive in the second half. I think big play there. I think he wanted to get in the end zone. And I got to say, I think that timeout worked well for Coach Bates.
36-6. There's a reverse to Busby, and he's not going to go anywhere. Their second straight failed two-point conversion. They have yet to kick it, but that'll be the score, 36-6 with 9:07 to go here in this football game.
I got to say, I'm a little surprised. I mean, how many of these plays do you think George Bates has in his playbook from that formation?
He's got to have a lot. It doesn't look like he has a kicker.
He's about to give away every single possible two-point conversion play that he has. I mean, you can watch one week of tape and feel like you have everything out there, but I think we know that Coach Bates is smart enough that he's not going to let that happen. He might come with a fresh set of plays from that formation every single week.
Chris Osborne is down on the sidelines. He was down there where that touchdown was scored. Chris.
Well, guys, it's a tale of two sidelines. You've got one sideline that is jubilant, the other one that is downtrodden. I can tell you this, whatever the coach said and the offensive coordinator for Center Point, it was adhered to. They knew the assignment, and they completed the task because he was in their face. Back to you guys upstairs.
Yeah, he's, like we said, he's coaching to a standard as well. He's not paying attention to the scoreboard. And, again, most of your top coaches coach that way. They want each play to have a life of its own and to be executed and performed like their expectation. Forget the score on the scoreboard. But he won't forget it in about 9 minutes and 7 seconds because it'll be 36-6. There's a short kick and almost like an onside kick, but covered up by the Wildcats there. And Fultondale will have good field position on the 45-yard line.
Yeah, I've got to say I'm a little surprised by that. I don't know if it's he's talking to the kicker right now. I think maybe he's trying to make it clear that he didn't want to try an onside kick, just a little bit of a squib kick.
Yeah.
I think that might be a midfield conversation with Coach Hanley after the game as coaches get together. I don't think Bates is trying to rub this one in by any means.
Well, no, and I think you're right. I think the execution just wasn't there. And let's be honest, you're not going to get too mad at number 8 because Javion Taylor he's been a monster defensively. So you'll live with a bad kick occasionally, right?
Yeah, if you're throwing out another athlete out there and just hoping he can kick the ball as well as he can do everything else, that might be a little much.
And there's movement, I think. Yep, on the wide receiver as he jumped a little bit. So it'll back up Fultondale by 5. And again, the Wildcats want to end with a good, positive play. Quarterback taking it around the right end and on the snap. And again, Woodall is out. I don't know if he's injured or not. Victor Bridges, again, is the quarterback of note. And not much happening on that first down play. And another flag is down on the field. They're going to back it up 5 more. No, going to go further than that. Well, now they decided to bring it back. So they declined it. 2nd down, 15. Kind of interesting that he threw that beautiful touchdown on double coverage to Yafondo, and then we don't know what's happened to him. There's Bridges again, just running up the middle. He might get a couple, but that's not going to do a lot against this Eagles defense, which has been really good in this game.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if it might just be as simple as, hey, it's the fourth quarter of a 30-point game. Let's go somewhere else. I think the weird part was that they made the change after the onside kick. Unless there was something that happened on the sideline but that was a good throw, and to be able maybe just to let him build off of it for next week. Let that be his last throw. Feel good before they start region play next week.
3rd down and 13. Bridges drops. He's in deep trouble. Trying to run away, trying to launch, carrying the football loosely. And our Eagles hold on loosely and sack him at the 25-yard line. So that's a loss of a ton, of probably about, 15 yards or so on that sack. You don't want to give up real estate at this point. 4th down, you got to punt this one. It's just too far.
Yeah, I think you probably just kick it. You're letting – this is about clock and running the clock and getting out of here, which it looks like what's happening. He's backing up a bit to take this snap. Try to get out without losing any more yards or an injury, that's for sure.
7:21 to go in the fourth quarter. There's the kick. No rush at all. Nice high kick for the Wildcats. And takes a nice Fultondale bounce. Going to be very close to the 35-yard line as Fells downs it there. And that's where Centerpoint will get it. And I would think George Bates and the offensive staff of the Eagles would be satisfied with 4 yards of play here and kind of take the air out. And there's a good look at the offensive coordinator and the Eagles and seeing what their plan is here with a nice 30-point lead, 36-6.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if this ball goes into the air. I mean, I know Bates wants to get Dickerson a little bit more passing experience, especially after the way his night has gone, but I'd be surprised if not every play was on the ground from here on out.
Dickerson hands off, and that's the backup tailback who is not on our roster, number 22. I don't know if that's a freshman coming up or what. There's very few freshmen that come in for George Bates' team. That could be one of them, just theorizing, but we do not have a 22 on our roster.
I got to say, he looks like a freshman, maybe even younger. I mean, you got nothing on your arms. You got no gloves. Looks like he hasn't done the high school weight room process yet. But a really impressive run to start his night. Looks like he might be the mainstay in the backfield the rest of the way.
Can't talk enough about that offensive line for Centerpoint as they run up the middle there. And they've got a lot of not a lot, but some of the backups are in there. But the starters, Jalen Rainey, Jonathan Hall, James Edwards, Jamorian Fuller and Willie Kimball have done a terrific job tonight. And as I said, they've got some backups in there right now. Guys like Jeremiah Hatcher and different guys like that. James Edwards is still in there, but, you know, they've done a very, very nice job controlling the line of scrimmage.
They have, and I think that's I mean, we talked about it from the start. You said you talked to Coach Bates, and that's what he wanted to see, that physical play, and they've answered the call. I mean, you might not think that based on how animated Bates has been on the sideline, but I think this is exactly the kind of game that he wanted, was to be able to control the game based off your running game with your offensive line, and then making big plays on defense when you need them, and that's exactly what Center Point's done tonight.
So 2nd down and 7 here. Dickerson still in at quarterback. Good look at the offensive coaching staff there. Pitch out again to the unnamed 22, but he's drugged down there by Garrington Mitchell, the senior rover, or safety, I should say, for the Wildcats. And it'll be 3rd down and 6. Some of those young offensive linemen for the Eagles getting some playing time tonight. Jalen Rainey still in at left tackle. They got a few subs in there on the interior part of that line. Keeping the center, James Edwards, in there. Making sure that snap is going to go straight back to Dickerson.
Yeah, I think that's something. You want to keep that center-quarterback relationship as good as possible. If you're keeping that quarterback in that you want to start in the future, you keep that center in too.
Dickerson looking to throw over the middle, had a man, and there was a crowd there, and I didn't think he really was interested in catching that one. Too importantly was Kwan Posey. But the pass was errant to begin with, and that'll be a 4th down.
Looks like based off the Max Preps roster, which I think usually is a pretty good tell, our number 22 freshman is Xavier Kabeel.
Could to put a name to that number?
It's freshman running back number 22. I'm feeling pretty confident.
At least we got the freshman part right. Correct?
And I'm not even sure he's I mean, I'm looking at him. I'm still trying to find it hard to believe that he might not be an 8th grader. He runs the ball well, though. Pretty good start for him. He just got 17 yards on just 3 carries.
Oh, they ran into the kicker, and they let it go. The official was not he was not impressed with that. Fultondale, meanwhile, brings it back to close to the 40-yard line on the return. But the head official just stared at Taylor,
I think
who was lying on the ground, and he couldn't sell him on it.
It was a little bit of the sell job, I think, that made the ref say, no, you're not getting that call.
Yeah.
He saw him fall down, put his
You're
hands
almost
in the
selling
air.
it too good, right?
He said, come on, man. This is a 30-point game. Let it happen, and maybe you get the call next time. So it's a teaching lesson.
4:41 to go in the 4th quarter. 36-6. This one, the only thing in doubt is what the final score will be. Fultondale in there. Bridges again at quarterback. Drops back, and he throws a nice screen out here to LaFonde. Gets him loose. He's got a little room to run, but, man, he was belted down again by Taylor, who just had tried to sell that. He was in a bad mood when he arrived. Watch him come up and hit him here late. Bam.
Ooh, yeah, that is something that he wanted to make sure he's not getting out of this game anytime soon. He's still trying to lay some hits out here. After all that, somehow only a 3-yard gain. It felt like a lot more running.
George Bates signaling in the defense there. Very involved on both sides of the football. And again, coaching like this thing is tied up. It's not. 36-6, center point in control. Handoff, big hole. Jackson on the left side. Runs over his wide receiver. Wouldn't get out of the way. He's got a 1st down over there after a 13-yard gain on the left side. Take a look.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you're a receiver and you're blocking that well and you feel your running back run through you, that means you have a good block, because that means they think they can get a few more yards by running behind you. So really well done on the edge there, and another big run for Jackson.
Good camera work by our camera guy Josh down on the sidelines. 1st and 10. Fultondale at the 48. Handoff. Jackson again sidesteps the initial tackle, as getting some good penetration again was Willie Kimball, but he got past him and picks up a couple.
Jackson now over 100 yards just in the second half alone. Again, a nice night for him. He would love to have a touchdown to go with it, and obviously a win to go with it as well. But he continues his good start to the year.
3 minutes and counting. Fultondale does not look like they're in a hurry with Keon Hanley there, the head coach, but would like a sustained drive. And to your point, cap it off with a touchdown to build a little bit of momentum for next week, if they can. Handoff. Fails, reverses field. Trying to run away, might have some room, cuts through, breaks through. He's in the sideline, down the seam, I should say, and inside the 30-yard line. How about that run as he goes for 13 yards? Watch this effort.
Yeah, that's certainly his biggest play of the night. Once he decided to cut back, you look up and you realize that there was a lot of people on this side of the field. Sometimes as a coach, you're like, no, follow your blocks. If it's not there, just take a couple of yards lost. But he wanted some yards out of that, and he made the most out of it. That's what good athletes can do.
Terrence Tubbs hit him, but he didn't wrap up, and Fells just bounced off of him, and he's had a nice, solid night tonight. 1st and 10 Wildcats from the 28-yard line. Handoff fails again, kind of just sidesteps as soon as he gets it's like just find a hole and run through it, right?
I like the way these running backs run the ball. They're patient in the backfield. That's going to really pay off. Again, I mean, we're talking about a team that's down 30 points right now. But Fultondale, they've done a lot of things that have impressed me, and I think based off one game, certainly against a higher classification opponent in Center Point, a team that was 6A just a year ago, Fultondale down in 4A. I think that they look like, to me, they have the potential to be a good playoff team.
2nd down and 8. Dropped the football, did Bridges, picks it up and kind of threw the timing off everybody, and he'll pick up nice positive yardage, about 5 on that right side, and it'll be 3rd and a couple there, maybe 3 to go for a 1st down. Clock at 56 seconds. And it's not the deal where Hanley's going to call a timeout to try to score, but again, we'll see how aggressive he is. He kind of pulled that touchdown pass out of his back pocket a moment ago, and we'll see what he's got here with the backup quarterback Bridges.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a shot to the end zone. Give him a chance to throw one up again.
There's the long pass down to the field, and it's picked off by Center Point. Good play there by Jaquari Busby. He also had the long catch down here on this right side. He's also a defensive back, and he gets that play. And Fultondale did take that shot, but Center Point comes up with a nice play.
Yeah, I think, that's almost a fitting into the game, isn't it? I know that you have different players out there at this point. Fultondale was driving, and it was another drive that stalled out inside Center Point territory. I think that would be the 3rd one that either ended in a turnover or a punt or a failed 4th down. So that's the difference in the ball game. Center Point has captured those moments that they needed when they had the ball in the red zone, and Fultondale wasn't able to. That's situational football, and that matters. It certainly matters down the stretch, but even in a non-reaching game like this, that made the difference.
18 seconds to go in this one. Center Point will get their first win of the 2024 season, 36-6. Do they have enough room to take a knee is the question, as the football is down on about the 3-yard line or just inside of it, looks like. So the normal snaps going back a few yards. These teams don't know how to really get under center and do that, but they are getting under center, which is good. taking a knee, and that should end the football game. Good performance, a good response for Center Point after the opening loss as they take down Fultondale 36-6. They go to 1-1 on the season. Fultondale goes to 1-1 on the season after their opening win against Linden. There's a good look at George Bates as he will greet his fellow mate Keon Hanley over there, who's done a nice job of Fultondale. Again, 5 wins in a couple of years for him, 4 last year, as the players all shake hands and get to the house and see how they can get better next week. We'll take a break and come back with the winning coach, George Bates of Centerpoint. You're watching Jeffco Ed TV.
Hello, Jeffco Ed family. We are excited to announce our signature academies. Here's what you can look forward to.
I try to give you a little bit of everything. So I'm really getting the workforce ready. We're trying to get electricians out of here, industrial maintenance technicians. Single pole switch, wired to a receptacle, wired to a light source. You cannot get this type of training outside of the school system unless you pay for it.
This is a great class to learn how to do things for life.
They will learn how to do some electrical work at home, how to do some of their own plumbing, and how to maintain their yard, shrubbery.
That's leaking around there.
This is going to provide students with skills to be able to step into those positions to help out in a market that is definitely hiring.
I like that we do a lot of hands-on activities.
We actually perform experiments that an actual lab technician would do in the lab, or a forensic technician or forensic anthropologist would do out in the real world.
I like this class because I learned a lot better with my hands.
You'll get a card. It'll tell about your certification, and it carries some weight out in the industry, so you can say, hey, I've been certified in this level and this level.
The other one has a spacer.
Learn that one and then move back.
We make cool things, get to try cool things, play with robots.
I like music technology because I feel like it explains what goes on past the lyrics in songs. I feel like it really helps you understand, where the beats come from, how different a song sounds without lyrics.
Hey, Aaron. I didn't do this. I love when they get excited and they understand how something can apply to them or how they can attach it to a career goal or a college goal.
Jeffco Ed's signature academies. Come join us.
All right, the final 36 to 6.
Congratulations. Pretty convincing win. You've got Lincoln up next. You're now 1-1. What are you going to take from this, and what do you got to work on?
Continue to work on those. Offense, we got stagnant. We got stagnant and stalled drives. Defensively, we gave up a touchdown on a big ball we shouldn't have. We extended some drives on third down with missed tackle. So basically, we got to get in shape, mentally and physically. That's what we need to do from this point on to be dominant.
Coach, the intensity from you and your staff, it never let up, even though when it looks like the game was won. Tell us about your mindset.
My mindset is we're trying to be the best Center Point can be. And, we got a young guy in later, but like I told the team, the JV plays this Tuesday. They play the same team Tuesday at Fultondale. That's their time. It's time for the older guys to play. We got to get a rhythm. We only scored 16 points last week. We started off the first 2 drives well, but we only scored at one time on offense in the second half. The other was a defensive touchdown. So we got to find a rhythm right now. I know we mixing and matching quarterbacks, but we got to find a rhythm right now. So like I said, it's no disrespect to Fultondale, but we have to get Center Point right. And Coach going to coach his team, and I got to coach my team, and I got to make sure that we get us fixed.
All right, Coach, I'm going to let you celebrate with your team. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Wings up.
All right. Chris, thank you for that. And George Bates getting his team back on the winning column, 36-6, the final. So Fultondale falls to 1-1. Centerpoint 1-1. And just a quick wrap up with Caleb, your thoughts on some of the numbers that you saw.
Yeah, I think that Centerpoint obviously running the ball really well. Coach Bates talked about it, touched on it there in the second half. They only really gained 50 yards of offense. They finished with 330 yards, 204 on the ground. Finnerson had 93 yards with a pair of touchdowns. Deion Moore had 87 yards with a touchdown, including 78 yards passing. They have some work to do in the passing game if they want to compete for a region title in 5A this year. But region play gets started next week. And meanwhile, Fultondale, Jeremiah Jackson passes 130 yards again, despite not getting a touchdown. He's up to 262 yards on the season through 2 games. He's gonna be a factor for this Fultondale team come region play. And they're a team that won 4 games last year in region play. They're hoping to build off that and even compete for a title this year. So a lot of good things, a lot of positives for both teams despite a lopsided score.
And there's some fans giving some footballs to some of our camera guys there. So they're getting rich over there with some footballs. So that'll do it here. We'll wrap it up. Our Jeff Coed TV Game 2 next week. Don't forget at McAdory with Northridge and McAdory. That'll be a great game with the Yellow Jackets hosting the Rams. But the final here tonight from Center Point, the Eagles in control, 36-6 over the Fultondale Wildcats. For our executive producer, John Huddleston, our producer and director, John Rocket, and all our great crew, for Caleb Turrentine and Chris Osborne, Scott Griffin saying so long from Center Point. The final again, 36-6. Eagles soar tonight. You're watching Jeff Coed TV.